Hey, welcome to the Runaways podcast. My name is Cody. We are back for another week, and maybe our last week before Worlds. I mean, there's probably not going to be a podcast next week, so I guess we will get all of our Worlds thoughts out this week.
We can
But
do
we
like
are,
a bunk beddy.
I don't know. There'll be like 15
Dude,
people in that place.
We do a bunk bed sleepover style like pillow fort podcast next week.
I
Yeah, that would be
I'm
awesome.
suspicious if that actually gets done. So
We tell ghost stories under a blanket.
yeah, I will make no promises that there will be a
Like-
podcast next week. Anyway,
It would be cool if we did one though.
it would be cool. I don't disagree. I just
Yeah.
know how we are, and I don't trust us to actually do one.
Fair.
Cool. Well, we had another week of PQs. We had a calling. We're prepping for Worlds, basically. So we're going to do a tier list. I guess it's tier list time. I don't think we've done one at all this season. So we're going to... Oh, wait. There's 2 formats. So we have to do 2 tier lists. Oh,
You juked me out with that one, man. I wasn't expecting that.
okay, Noah. You've been playing PQs every weekend. You are still allowed to play PQs every weekend, so that's pretty
Yeah.
successful in my book. How did your weekend of PQs go? Do you have any more left, or are you out of invite opportunities?
Luckily, I still have one more left. It's been kind of like a meme among the few of us in the community who still haven't gotten our invite of like not wanting to have to go play on the last week. Like it's a shameful thing to like, yeah, I still have to play in week 6 or whatever. But yeah, I still have one more. This past weekend, I lost in top 4 to the best deck, Marionette.
Well
But
said.
yeah, it was a fun event as usual. I still keep playing KO. Gonna keep playing him until he hits 1,000, most likely. And yeah, we'll see if I can get my invite to Yokohama next week, or if I'll have to cash in a PTO.
Even if you do, it's probably been worth it so far.
Yeah, based off of the promos and goal flows that I've sold, it's been worth it. So would do it again, even if it's nerve wracking a bit, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Dan, did you play any Flesh and Blood this past weekend?
I didn't play Flesh and Blood the last 2 weekends.
Oh man, that's why you haven't
actually,
been on the
yeah.
podcast, right?
Well, hold on. To be clear, I haven't played in person. I went to Armory on Monday.
Okay.
That was all the in-person Flesh and Blood the last 2 weeks. But I think I've played or matched the most I've ever tested the past 2 weeks, other than when I was on the cruise. I didn't test on the cruise, but no, I've been playing a ton just online because we're very close to Worlds, and I like to kind of more focus my efforts. It's obviously more efficient to play online than in person. I love getting tournament reps, but my ProQuest options were all like 90 plus minutes away, so I decided to stay home and play Riftbound and then practice Flesh and Blood.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I've just been grinding. I'm loving the game right now. I get to play the best deck in the format, which is also my favorite deck, so life is good.
Talking about chain, right?
And Lucas, you had a PQ. I know that you topped. How was your weekend?
Yeah, so I haven't played a PQ yet where I have like shit the bed, but I have also yet to stop playing PQs. So this week I went to a PQ, and once again I got first seed. I went 4-0, and then there was I was the only undefeated, so I just scooped round 5 to go get food because I was locked for first seed. So the moment that my round 4 opponent gave me the handshake, my fate was sealed. Because obviously that means that I got the curse of the first, and so I paired into my teammate on Kano, played against Jesse in top 8, and we actually had a really interesting game. It was very informative, and then we just kind of got to like the last turn of the game, and he drew Gem, Wildfire, Blue, and Kano into Wildfire, and then I perished. It was really interesting where like I popped my Storm Striders to kill him, but he had enough to where he could just kill me in response to that because I had to take the first Wildfire. So it was a very interesting game. It was very informative. I think I could have done some stuff differently or potentially better. But alas, I'm still not qualified. I have another PQ next week, but it's like 2 or 3 hours away, I think. So I'm probably just going to stay home and figure out another way to queue. The other thing I did this week was I did Halloween I had this in the background initially. Noah told me that I should show it off, so I decided to. My girlfriend paper mache this for me, and we went as Skull Kid and one of his little fairy friends for Halloween, and it was a lot of fun. I was mentioning on Twitter, I really hope we get like a Halloween themed hero in some of the next sets. Maybe not like a joke hero. I think it'd be cool if we got like a headless horseman style, like actual adult 40 health hero, but maybe that's a little bit too much to ask for in the near future. But LSS, if you're watching, pumpkins, take notes.
I went to the 10K at Green Tree. It was a great event that they hosted. I mean, every Green Tree event is pretty great. Even our teammate Gary ended up winning the whole thing, which is pretty sweet. They also had like a 2.5K LL event the next day. I played some KO. I guess was not awake in game one, and I just like missed arms for 1 damage on one of my turns against Katsu, and the game ended up coming down to him being at 1 health. So I would have been able to take an extra card from the hand and probably ended up winning, but I decided to start my day off very hard by punting one of my turns. And then the KO deck did what KO does. I won like the next 4 matches in a row, and then I sit down for my winner in, and it's Mr. Gary Gold and Syndra, and I go, okay, no problem. We got this. And he proceeds to shuffle my deck, and I want this man to never touch my deck ever again, because my my opening hand was 4 blues into 4 reds into 4 blues into I am dead, because you cannot play the Syndra match with 3 unfunctional hands in a row. You just perish. So he ended up winning the whole thing, which is pretty cool. But I need to keep my deck as far away from Gary as possible. He got that that magic shuffle.
Gary Goldfoil with the Midas touch.
Yeah.
Turning the deck.
But he played great all weekend. It was cool to see him take the whole thing down. I went and played LL the next day. I decided to register Starvo because I'm a moron, and attempted to play in the LL event and was quickly reminded why Starvo is terrible. So it was like round 3. I'm like, nah, I'm done playing this. And Pat and I went and sat like at a different table and played Riftbound for like 4 hours. So that was sweet. That was like the highlight of the whole trip was playing
Riftbound's fun.
Yeah, it's very fun.
It's very refreshing.
Yeah, I enjoyed learning a new card game. But ultimately, it was cool to see everyone do well. There was like 30 people there for the LL event, and it was mostly Viserai. But it was taken down by Mark Morrison on Marlin, and he played super well. There's actually 2 Marlins that made it pretty far. All of the Marlins. There's only 2 Marlins in the room. They both made it.
There were
far.
3, I think. Actually, I think funny enough, it was technically I think it was the second most represented deck at 3.
True, it was very close because the most represented deck was 7 at Viserai. I think I was like the only Starvo in the room. There might have been 2 of us, but I'm pretty sure I was like the only one. It was interesting of an event, but that's like every LL event, right?
Well, that was your problem, dude. Apes Together Strong. You needed your brethren there to help you consume the plastic.
Yeah, there was a bunch of news.
Wax.
Actually, there might have been. I think there was 3 news as well. So that was pretty interesting. But we'll talk about some of our thoughts on the format as we get into the tier list. Besides that, we do have some news. We'll cover it quickly because there's not a ton of stuff to talk about. We did have PQs last week, and they were basically the same. Syndra number 1, then Verdance. The only surprising thing that there was not very many PQs, but also that Gravey was pretty far down in the win rates. He was only at like 4 wins, but there was a lot less events. And then Kano only got 2 wins, so he's gonna have to have like a pretty big week this week, or win like a Battle Harden, or he's gonna still be legal. Any comments or thoughts on what happened last PQ season or PQ week?
Yeah, I think it's nice to see like the real meta start to shape. You see Arachne creep up to 4 wins this week. I think you're gonna continue to see that trajectory until eventually he's dominating every week.
Once everybody else.
Otherwise, it makes sense. I wish Kano got more points.
Some of the differences in Syndra deck were pretty cool to see, like them. Some people playing a full Pouncing Links package. Some people playing basically none of those, like 0 for 2, no Blood Runs Deep, no Tenacity, no Salt the Wound, 8 D reacts. I think were in Gordon's deck. So
Yeah,
some
the
like
calling.
decent changes to the Syndra style, and like I think all the decks were decently different among the 5 and top 8. So it's kind of interesting that they all made it there despite having up to 10 cards different from each other.
Yeah, the Sydney calling was pretty cool. Definitely friend of the show, Gordon, ended up taking it down and winning. I think this is like his second calling that he's won. I think he won one on new before.
He's
Yeah,
on,
dude,
like,
he's a
5 now.
monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time that literally what happens is like it's like 11 p.m. I'm thinking, oh, I'm looking at the standings like, oh, I know a bunch of these people. I hope somebody I know does well tomorrow. I go to sleep, and then every time I wake up, and it's like, oh, it's Gordon again. It's Gordy. It's always Gordy,
Gordon.
bro. I have to have 15 text messages in my Facebook Messenger where I just wake up at 8 a.m. and send Gordy the "You're the GOAT, dude" message. Like, surely there's 20 of these.
Yeah, super great player. I believe he said he like played 5 games of Syndra, went and won a calling with it. So
Yeah.
Oh, this is standard.
Yeah.
Every tournament he shows up having no idea what's going on and just like figures it out by day 2 and then coasts to victory.
Yeah.
But he played really well. I was watching the top 4 game against Matt Rogers specifically. I feel like he got off to kind of a shaky start, but as I was watching, I was watching like in real time, and I was like, "Ooh, I would do this play. I wonder if he's going to do that." And he just like did the exact play that I was hoping he would do every time, and then he was successful. So it was fun to watch. Normally, I have a lot of chirping for watching stream games, but I had no notes on that one.
Yeah, that's really rare.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's normally every turn on both sides.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Every turn, I'm like smashing the pause button, like, all right, here's the 19 things they did wrong.
Yeah.
Other than that, Syndra was super dominant at this tournament. Gravy fell pretty short, but I mean, that's kind of to be expected with that much Syndra running around. I do think it is interesting that Syndra has gotten better and better results as I think the season has gone across, just in pure data that you look at on like win rate. They're just like flipping every match. So
I think this to me reads as the good play. When I say the good players, what I really mean is just like people who are strong enough to like win a ProQuest or are better. Like the like
But none of us.
the population that like plays the game at a competitive level like seems to be realizing that Syndra is like actually a deck. They've had people like those bozos over at the Runaways podcast telling them for
Dude, I'm still skeptical.
the last year that Syndra is just terrible. And I think honestly for a lot of that time it was true, but I think we're getting to the point where like people are actually realizing the deck is just strong and like people know how to play against it and it's still doing well. So it's clearly just like a powerful deck at this point, I feel. Like it's like pretty solidly, I feel like best aggro deck in the game at this point.
I mean,
At
people.
least the default.
It was like just people just didn't want to play the deck. Is kind
Yeah.
of how it felt for a while.
Exactly.
And now it's relatively just powerful enough with how the meta sits that it's like worth playing even if you don't particularly like the deck.
Exactly. Yeah, we always see this with decks for a while where the deck is like kind of weak to mid for a while. It's in that like tier 2 spot and then it gets new cards or other stuff LLs or something happens and then it moves up to that space and then all of the players kind of flock to that deck and then the lists get standardized normally within the next few weeks to a month. Interestingly though, I think with Syndra this is kind of lining up before like Noah was saying where like the decks are still quite different. So Worlds will actually, I think, be an interesting spot to see how the different Syndra decks are built because there is a lot of variation within those. I think the same is actually true for the other 2 heroes as well. I think it's one of the most interesting things about CC is it feels like there's a lot of different ways to build a lot of the top heroes and some of the different matchups. Verdance is probably the least of the 3, but still has quite a bit of variation in deck lists.
Cool. Anything else on the calling or PQ before we go into tier lists?
Okay, wait. One more thing was funny. That Michael Fung's Viscera deck is basically just like you take Viscera deck from hold format, you put in a worse weapon, you take out 2 red dirge and put in 2 yellow read the runes. All right, call it a day.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Okay, we can continue now.
Okay, we're back for our tier list. We're going to be doing our tier list on FABblazing.com, who is also a sponsor of this episode. If you would like the data, visit fabblazing.com. This site is probably the thing I've been using the most out of this entire season. Everyone on the team now that I've been talking to or showing them how to do it has been going through to get matchup knowledge. The amount of times I hear, hey, why is this in the deck? I don't know. It had the most win rate into this matchup. So I'm making sure that that is accurate. So if you would like the data and you would like to save infinite time on your testing or just win arguments with your friends, visit fabblazing.com. Okay. And then you can also do a tier list here. So perfect. So this tier list, we have made it very economical, as we know that the Runaways like to do. This is for Worlds. This is a Worlds tier list. This is not your fun time at Armory. This is not, I'm trying to win a PQ. This is, I am bringing this deck to Worlds to attempt to win a tournament at Worlds. So there's going to be a bunch of things that don't play. There's going to be some things at S, which are probably the expected heroes to have a good shot at winning. A will be things that can compete with that, and B would be things that if they line up with the right matches or get a little lucky, that they can probably take it down. And then don't play is like, yeah, maybe once in a while this thing like wins the tournament, but like you're just like shooting yourself in the foot at the beginning of the event if you're bringing this hero with you.
I think another way of putting this is just don't play.
Yeah. I would recommend people don't play.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Don't play these ones if you're going to Worlds.
Perfect. So, as is tradition, can we start off by just shoving a bunch of things and don't play?
Surely
that we don't really need to talk about.
Yeah, I guess the ones we don't talk
about. Like Betsy and Bravo, and feel free to name other ones that you want me to just shove in
Ira.
there.
Ira.
Yeah,
no,
Ira, unfortunately.
I don't think so.
Florian.
I also
here, hold on. We should talk about Florian. We'll give him his 2 minutes of getting on him that we need every podcast.
Dan, you actually want to talk about Ira instead of just throwing it here?
Yeah, if there's a B tier, like she's B tier, but there's nothing to talk about. Like she targets some of the decks well.
Which one?
Gravy.
Okay. Anyway, Katsu.
Don't play.
Lyeth is in don't play. Even though Oliver Berry did have a pretty awesome game, I would still not recommend playing Lyeth.
You can win at 1 or 2 games, yeah.
Levia, yep. Max, RKO. Oh my god, bro! No, I think it's fine. It's probably B. Whatever.
I think it's more likely Azuri has a repeat performance than RKO wins.
Agree. Uzuri does legitimately go and don't play. I think Noah is still right, but I do think Uzuri goes and don't play.
I would take that bet all day. That RKO has a better shot at winning.
I mean, of course, but
Valda.
I'm making a point for dramatic effect.
Rippy.
Oh yes, please, Valda, don't play. Yes, thank you, ladies.
Riptide, Shirley, Vincent.
Nah, surely Vincent needs to be talked about.
Dude, you're not winning the tournament with Vincent. Come on.
But you say who are we targeting? Syndra, yeah.
But that's not going to win the tournament.
I think you can put Vincent. We can talk about it at least.
Okay. Anything else here for just straight up don't play? I don't.
I find it hard to believe a lot of these heroes will win the tournament.
A lot of these heroes are going to go and don't play, but we should talk about them.
Yeah. Other ones have.
Yeah.
I would put Slippy there.
Things worth talking about. Let's just start with some of the obvious ones like Syndra.
Yeah. S, top of S.
Probably the most played deck at the tournament, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Definitely been winning all of the events. This is the deck to beat. If there is a deck to put in S tier, it is Syndra. It is the matchup that
she's been winning Pro Quest, right?
She's been winning Callings.
I think Vernus has been winning more Callings.
No, she's not.
Like Battle Hardens.
No, Syndra's I think has probably better.
Like going back the past month?
Yeah, she's won 2 Callings. Syndra's won 2 Callings. Verdant's won 1. Gravy won 0.
Okay,
that's true.
Yeah.
Syndra was also just 5 out of the top 8 of the most recent Callings.
Do you guys want to make mention here too of the fact that the best of 3 format exists in top 8 for like influencing wins? I think Syndra probably lends itself best to like flexibility, and depending on the matchup, of course. But I think it lends itself to flexibility of being able to go first or second and have some kind of edge. Like there are some matchups where I think you want to go first and get in like a bunch of chip damage in an arsenal and set up the 5-card hand. And then there's other matchups where you want to go second and just because it's an aggro matchup, you get to go second. So I think like she actually benefits a decent amount of the structure for top 8, where you can kind of put your opponent in an awkward position of you're either going to have to play LL and, roll the dice there, or they're going to give you more games of Syndra where you just get to execute your relatively simple game plan. I don't know if that, at the end of the day, I don't know if that actually gives her an edge or not, but it's just interesting to think about like a deck like this where I don't think it's an automatic windmill slam in every matchup that you want to go in one position first or second.
Yeah, I can see how that could be advantage in Top Cut. I definitely also agree that it should be S regardless of
course,
even if it had like a negative Top Cut outcome, the way it's been performing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could honestly be like not legal in Top Cut, and I'd still put it, S tier just for its ability to get there.
Yeah, I was just thinking if that maybe influences its ability to actually like win the tournament after it's in top 8.
Yep.
It just seems like such a comfy deck to be on and like know that, okay, no matter what the outcome of like if I'm high seed, low seed, like I'm kind of fine with Syndra. It's like there's probably not going to be other decks in Top Cut that are there just to farm me.
Okay.
Urbance.
Yep, let's go to Verdance, the other obvious S tier, probably the second most played deck of the tournament, or most. It could be either of these could alternate.
Those two are clearly the top 2, though.
Yeah, I don't think there's any choice. Like any.
I mean, I have disputes, but we'll get there.
You have disputes about that something else should be S tier?
Oh yeah.
Like realistically?
Yeah.
Okay. I do not believe, but I will let you argue.
We all know where I'm going.
We all know where you're going.
And it's entirely based on what's currently in S tier.
Say the thing. Say the thing.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah, Verdance has been putting up good numbers. It is a good player deck. Is kind of how it feels. Is like a lot of the players that you're looking at in the tournament are all bringing Verdance. They're doing well with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Verdance's like position in the meta is there's 2 S tier decks, and one of them is a little bit better into like the meta, and one of them is a little bit better into like the field. I think Syndra is like a lot better into the meta than Verdance is. If the meta is like Syndra, Verdance, Gravy with like all the A tier decks we're gonna go about, I think probably on average Syndra is better. But once you get down to like maybe the lower A tier, B tier kind of decks, Verdance is like cleaning up, whereas Syndra might get like hard countered by some of those. So I think that's like the main difference in terms of matchup spread is like Verdance is like the safe, like you're fine into everything. You're not as good into like the top decks, but you're like reasonable. You have game into all of them. And then Syndra is like best deck, pretty good into the top decks, has a lot more just like kind of hard counters if people are choosing to play them.
You'll have to bring up these hard counters when we get to them if those decks are like actually going to be more than 1% of the room.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that Syndra is so good is that her like quote unquote hard counters are just like not very good decks, right? It's like Victors and stuff like that.
That's what I was trying to say before that I articulated poorly, is that like if you make top 8, you can just like play 2 games of Syndra and it's probably not going to be a hard counter.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, let's talk about number 3 on everyone's radar, but has started to fall off a little bit recently, and that would be Mr. Gravy Bones.
Arachne Marion. Oh.
Yeah.
What was that? Sorry.
That's number 1, man. You're crazy.
So we did say quite often we had a 3 deck meta. Gravy seems to start lagging behind the 2, and that kind of makes sense when you have Syndra's popularity shooting up more and more and more. While Gravy can win the Syndra matchup, you cannot win it all the time. It is rather hard to play, and your deck has to like function. And you're going to be behind quite often. So if you're seeing, instead of like seeing 1 or 2 Syndra a tournament, you start seeing 3 Syndra a tournament, your ability to top the event just like dramatically goes down.
Yeah, and I think with my top 8 thing, that applies to Gravy a lot, where like if you're playing a hard Gravy counter, your opponent can just make you play 2 games of Gravy and then you're kind of cooked.
that can definitely be the case. I do think Gravy is still a great deck. I mean, it's good into Verdance. It is good into a lot of the decks that we'll talk about as well. And then it just has draws that win any game that it has as well. But then it also has draws that can lose any game against any hero. I think it's still A tier, but
sorry, Cody. I think Lucas said earlier that Syndra's the best aggro deck in the game. I think it's actually Gravy Bones. He just has to draw well.
Dude, wait, is Gravy joining Dio and Acilio and Kano in the Please Don't Play tier?
He's always been there, man. What do you mean? I agree with A tier though. It's not a great meta.
Cool. What is
Yeah, but he's let's clarify. He's still broken. Like the deck is still ridiculous.
Yeah, of course.
That's why he's A tier, yeah.
Yeah, you just are super high variance and the meta is not great for you.
Yeah, the meta's getting worse for Gravy, and unfortunately he just has this weird, like, sometimes the deck doesn't work issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like we used to say it with Levy all the time, like you started like X2 at the tournament. And Fino has started saying that with Gravy, you just start 4-2 at every tournament, where you're just going to lose 2 games to the deck not working, but you're going to win 4 games because you're Gravy.
Yeah, I think also, like, legitimately, like, he is a good pick in Verdance. I think there is play to both sides of the matchup. It's a matchup, but Gravy is ahead, I think. And, like, I think my opinion that Syndra will be more played than Verdance, but this is not everybody's opinion. A lot of people think Verdance is, like, the deck to beat. That's the deck that most of the people are going to play. So, like, Gravy could be a good choice, but I agree the trends in the meta seem currently that the winds are shifting against Gravy, I suppose.
Yep. Okay, let's grab another hero. What does someone want to do?
I have something I need to say.
Okay, go for it.
If you don't mind going to
Say
my
the
hero.
thing. Say the thing.
Yeah,
say
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing.
We'll talk about Arachne Marionette.
Okay. Arachne Marionette is the strongest hero in Classic Constructed, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. Like, it's not close.
He said the thing.
Honestly, it's like the biggest selling point is exactly what we were just saying. Gravy stocks are down. I think Marionette is by far the best positioned, like meta relevant deck into Syndra, and I think your Verdance matchup is even to slightly favored if you tech properly for it. And I think having winning matchup spread into the top 2 decks is a big deal. And then you have very few bad matchups. The Gravy matchup is horrible. Not going to deny that. But all of your other matchups are winning for the most part. He's had the highest public win rate for like 6 months now. I think it's time that people stop coping and they start playing Marionette with me.
And how many of these people have topped anything?
Listen. We have evidence of why they don't. We have win and ins on stream, and we have pilots of Marionette admit that they have made some mistakes in these games that they clearly could have won.
Maybe we need
It's going to happen. You're going to see the Marionette convert.
Like we added Please Don't Play. We need to have a tier of like must play well in order for it to qualify, like not Bozo. Then...
The deck is very punishing to mistakes, but some of these were like they happen. I've done similar.
Yeah, So I have things that you said that I agree with. It being the best deck in the game is not even close to what I agree with. But sometimes it is the best deck in the game. When it draws like 19, 20 damage dagger into 20 damage dagger into 20 damage dagger, it feels...
draw 3 cards on hit.
It feels like it is like the best deck in the game. And then other times you're like, your opponent blocks 4 cards and you draw 3 D-reacts and lose the game. Or you...
Well, you don't play those.
Sure. That's not how Marionette's mostly built. But... It has the same issue that all the other aggro decks do. It has the pieces in the deck that are dependent on certain things either being on the board or being drawn with it. And when you don't draw them together, your deck does nothing.
Yeah, it depends on how your deck's built, though. That's why like the dagger focused builds are so popular right now. It is kind of hyper consistent in that way. Yeah, I mean, obviously you can draw bad. That's any deck, but I think the data speaks for itself. In this case,
yeah, it doesn't top anything, and no one's ever won.
No, not that.
Okay.
Of course, your theory, of course.
Yeah.
Just you wait. I'll
isn't
prove it to you
the Syndra just like if you go second, you're favorite. If you go first, you're not.
It's really not. I don't know. I haven't dropped a game in the past like month against Syndra.
But how do you play?
That doesn't
when you
mean
don't draw a disruption. Like you just draw a bunch of dagger related cards that don't interact with the opponent. I
mean, if you look at the deck, like you're going to draw disruption. It's like not reasonable not to. And generally speaking, so like they're throwing head jabs, right, for the most part, and some fours. Your whole deck is typically 4-go again. Sometimes it's 3 value per card. So as long as you're stopping mask, like if you're not drawing disruption, you're drawing cards that stop mask triggers. So if you're stopping mask, their rate is below you. And then if you're disrupting, you're also stopping mask, so their rate is below you.
But when you
No,
like block,
no, your confusion is that you just don't play 2-block dagger pumps into Syndra.
Yeah,
Those are
that's
the problem
correct.
cards, so you just don't play them.
I see, and you just like hope that they don't have shelter.
Because then your other cards are like your power cards. It's like Kiss of Death, Savor Bloodshed. Like either you're doing Giga damage or you're disrupting, or you're deck wrecked and you lose. Like that's Flesh and Blood.
Yeah,
I see.
the deck is actually quite good at configuring for different matchups. It's actually kind of I've said this a lot recently. I've been getting more Mario pilled as we go on, but I think this deck is sick. I think it's a lot better than people think it is. I do think it's hard to pilot. I think it's very maneuverable. I think it's kind of like how Verdance was in Singapore for me, where I feel like there's a lot of matchups where like if you play them in the precise way that makes sense for that tournament, you are like pretty ahead. So like for Worlds, I would probably put Mario like close, like top of A tier ish. I think like ultimately the deck is still like technical to play. I really honestly I think the deck is way more consistent than some of the other decks on this list, so I wouldn't put him in like the bottom tier of consistency. I think the deck is like a little bit weak sometimes to your opponent's cards lining up well into yours, and I think because Syndra is so popular, a lot of people are going to have those kinds of cards. But I think the deck is still super good. I think it is a little bit weaker than Syndra and Verdance. You could probably convince me to put it over Gravy, but you don't have to. I think it's one of the good A tier decks. I think it's a good pick if you have the right plans. I really don't think there's any huge issues with the deck. I think it's just like maybe not quite as powerful as the other decks, but not by a wide margin, and definitely has games where like it just rolls people over, which is honestly something that you don't really have with Syndra and Verdance. Like outside of Syndra drawing like Spreading Flames, Wrath of Retribution, and Verdance having like a very profitable turn 0, nothing compares to like Mario's good draws. Like when that deck draws good, it's just like completely unreal. Like nobody's winning.
It's like you open Savor, Kiss of Death. That you can push through, like, okay, it's like a 26 value cycle or something like that.
Yeah, and then like every other turn for the game, you push some disruption
consistent.
and are 2 to 3 points above rate.
Yeah, like 3.5 value per card.
Yeah, and you 20 them 3 times. Like it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it is very like deck configuration and sideboard dependent. You have to predict the meta accurately. Like, if you have infinite sideboard, I think Mario is actually just S tier. But you don't, and Kano might stick around. So there's a lot of things you have to figure out. But
So
I don't expect
when
you guys to put in S. But
when you say
it's in my
Mario's
S.
consistent, you mean in a different way than any other deck being consistent? You mean consistent in that every turn outputs a lot of damage and or disruption, not in that you actually do the same thing every turn.
Yeah. Like Mario has.
Oh, your turns are vastly different turn by turn.
Yeah,
but the
I think this is
overall
what's
game plan
like
coming
the hang
together
up is like
consistent.
you talk about consistent, but then you just like talk about I draw these
You
M's, then I draw these M's, then I draw these M's. It's like
you
okay,
also
like,
change your hero text every other turn.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how can you say it's consistent when you literally roll scabs every turn? Like,
I think it's just like all of the cards are, they just like convert. Like they're all pretty easy to convert. There are a few of them that require a certain thing to be happening, but those things are like literal worst case is like dagger pumps require you to pitch 2 reds for dagger, but that's like so rare that it actually happens.
Well, worst case is like 3 stains and I don't know.
Yeah, technically you
can
can draw
It's the classic D-React issue, but you have so few of them.
yeah,
It's
I
like-
wasn't arguing about this. I was just more just talking about the clarification of like when you say consistent, I think it's like a very misleading term.
Yeah,
consistently powerful, not
You should say
not in the way that it plays.
yeah.
I think
It has high average output, I think is like a better way of saying it.
Yeah, you guys can place it though. It's very clear that top of S for me, but
sure, but
Top of S
I
as
think-
well. Okay.
I think it's absolutely an A tier deck. I think it's great when it goes off. I think you sometimes just catch shelter strays and lose games because of it. And I think if you don't draw Chalice or a Maker early enough into some of the aggro decks, you just roll over. That's been my experience.
Just play 9 of them, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
play
Well,
nine.
I mean, you have a hat for a reason.
Yeah. Mark's use your hat so you can make your dagger is
That's literally
Definitely a
okay.
good
That's like
play.
literally the deck's like main strat. You do that into like everything.
yeah. If you need to make the dagger, yes.
You would
Yeah, of
rather
course.
play.
You would
Otherwise,
rather
just keep
you
your
would
hat.
rather not to do that with your hat.
But that's like what it's there for.
But it's never bad to do it. Like you're
Like
you're
whatever.
making your turn hyper efficient when you do.
Okay. If that's what you say. No one
Yes.
seems to be able to win anything with this deck, but okay.
To see what. Hey, there was a battle hardened win recently.
Okay. Maybe there's only like two
Oh,
good.
dude, I'm gonna rant real quick. Hold on. I'm tired of this whole like nobody seems to be winning with this deck. Dude, whatever, man. People just play whatever they want, and they play it poorly most of the time. And like nobody's decks are built for their specific tournaments. Like, whatever, man. Like this is our opinions. We played the deck. Like that's what we're given. I feel like tournament results are important, but nobody plays the deck is not like nobody does well with the deck is not like a catch all to the deck not being good. Like whatever, nobody played Bullander before Nats in 2022. It was still like the best deck in the room, and it wasn't remotely close.
Lucas gets it.
Like,
All right, next hero. What do we got?
Sure, but we've been having the same conversation for a year now. Like that's the part, Lucas, that I don't think you're picking up. We've literally gone through this for an entire year, and it's never been accurate.
yeah, I think the deck's been getting better and better. Again,
I think
also,
the deck
it's
is
like,
good.
whatever, like
I
the-
just think it's another aggro soup A tier deck that we're gonna just go put another 6 of them on this tier.
I don't necessarily disagree.
Okay.
I think this is
But I think the deck
on
is
the
good.
higher end.
It's just another one of those decks.
To be clear, the S for me is like the meta position, the way it's shaping out.
Okay.
Also the power level.
Nice. Oh, you can't give up. Okay, we need a new hero.
Okay, what are we doing next year?
Prism. You touched it.
Okay, yeah. Prism is another hyped hero. I would say is probably A.
You say hype tier?
Yeah, it's in hype tier.
I agree.
Yeah. If we had a tier called hype, I'd definitely put it in there. I mean,
Prism's in the hype tier 2 weeks before every pro tour. Like,
well, to be fair, it has a good matchup into the top 3 decks.
it always has a good matchup into the top 3 decks, though. I feel like every
Okay.
meta, everyone's like Prism's gas into like all the top decks.
Sure.
Prism Gaslight of Soul.
Like it's new Enigma or it's new Zen format, just Prism. It's Aurora Enigma, just Prism. It's Verdant Syndra, maybe some gravy, just Prism. I don't know. I think the deck's like eternally like A.5. Like people will show up and do well with the deck at every tournament. Like there's no exceptions. Like it can't like just not do well at all. But it's Prism, man. Like what if they like manifest 7 attack in their hand and then you cry out as you die.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
That
I
is
feel like the
issue.
deck is like never anywhere near S tier, but it's just so unreally broken that like you can't put it anywhere lower than A if it's a good metaphor.
Yep, I have no disagreements with everything that you've just said. It is
Yeah, me
it is
too.
a good A tier deck. Okay, let's talk about Dio. Dio's another one of the decks that's been pretty highly played. I think it is another aggressive aggro deck that it has some inconsistency issues, but it's top of the its matchup spread's pretty good. It's basically where it's at. It's been putting up some results. Is it just another A tier hero? Do we have more complaints about this hero?
I'm just always a Dio disbeliever. In my opinion, if you just turn your card sideways, you win more than 50% of the time against this hero.
Well,
So I don't know. You guys have to rate it. I don't believe in it.
Yeah, I've always been a disbeliever as well, despite losing to it often. After the match, I'm like, surely that was just luck.
yeah. I mean, that's how it feels when you lose to it, but it does it too often. I mean, also, like, Gravy can't put his card sideways. Syndra can't put her card sideways.
I was gonna say it's a bit of a jet roulette deck, and
Yeah.
I guess with the meta positioning, that's why it's not in don't play.
For the most part, Mario can't put his card sideways, depending on what side of the deck you're working on. But
I've also had this experience where I play against the Dios and they beat me and I get sad, but I have a more logical conclusion from this, which is that similarly to Prism, it's just a good deck. It's just like you're like I think it's they're actually quite similar where like they both just have these like sort of fundamental problems that make it really hard to do super well with these decks. without like at a big tournament without getting like a little bit of luck, but like they're so broken that you just like they're always going to be there. Um, like Dio is like I lose to it at like every tournament I played it, like every single time. Like the deck is super good. It's honestly like it is super consistent in terms of like you just do the thing most of the time where you just boost max V, but it's like a little bit too low, I think, to be like S tier just because it is like not always a repeatable game plan. Um, Especially in your good matchups. I think you look at something like Verdance or Gravy or Syndra. Like if you have a good matchup, those decks just clean up. Where something like Dio is like you have to work even for your good matchups. But yeah, I mean A tier, right? We all agree, I think.
It is another
I don't, but
semi inconsistent high power aggro deck that goes in the A tier and then
If
just
you
wins
if you
games.
put Dio lower than A tier, you're just wrong. Like
I agree. It's an A tier deck. Yeah.
Like I think it's the deck that's actually the best positioned into the top 3 in the game out of all of the decks.
Yep. And
like in terms of overall win share, I think she is the highest.
Yep. And if it could do it every time, then people would be playing it more often. We can put another deck here.
Let's fill out the B tier a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about Jarl.
No. Wait.
I feel like this B tier is going to become very full.
Yeah, it is.
I think we forgot someone and don't play.
We might, but
we've forgotten.
I meant Jarl.
You meant Jarl.
We've forgotten.
Full Fatigue Jarl is a deck that can win games.
Not enough to make a top cut.
I agree.
I think you're going
he could win
like
enough to
7
make a
and
top
6
cut,
best
but
case.
I don't think he would ever win.
I think he's a B tier. Like he has to have a good run in order to do the thing. But like it can beat Gravy. We've seen that it is much better into Gravy than it ever used to be before. It can play into Syndra. It can play into Dio. It could play into Prism, depending.
It's great into Dio.
Yeah,
that's like not a question.
I think its Verdance matchup is pretty shisty, but it will win some Verdance matchups because the Verdance players won't be good enough to overcome Jarl.
I've heard Prism is actually like high key okay.
That's what I just said. Yeah,
I've heard even the Prism.
Prism's like really good if you have Midas Touch.
Yeah, like that's what I've heard. Yeah.
I'm not sure if they play the new card too, the Tranquil Domain.
Yeah, that also just like is even more just destroy them.
Yeah, I think this is like a perfect B tier candidate. Obviously, we're talking only about like the Fatigue version, but like it's
I think I got a little too personal with my take. He's in my don't play, but that's because he's B tier, and I wouldn't play a B tier deck.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah,
I think
so I'll retract. He's B tier.
I think he's in don't play because like I just don't legitimately see a like compelling. So for me to put a hero in SA or B tier, I have to like see the vision for why you would play this hero. I just don't like. I
just told you.
Like okay, I'm gonna like play into everything, and if they get a little bit unlucky and don't really know what they're doing, I'm gonna beat most people.
What if here I'm going back to the thing I said earlier about like the whole top 8 thing in terms of actually winning the tournament. You could like hit a Jarl top 8 where you just deterministically win the tournament. If like you're favored into all these decks and you just get to play against them 2 out of 3, you just like win the tournament.
But I don't think there's like very many decks that you're actually favored into. Like I think it's like
I'm pretty sure Jarl players would tell you that they're favored into.
Theoretically, he's favored into most of the top decks. The way it plays out is it's not a very good deck, and
yeah, like you're playing Fatigue in 2025. Like everybody always has you in the back of their mind, and they always know how to beat you. And if they don't, like it's their fault, but you're the one choosing to play the deck. So like I guess I can see the vision of like show up and like I don't know, maybe you like I don't know, like you put something in the air or something to like make people sleepy. I don't even know. Like what is your strategy here? Like you're just gonna sit down.
The players are going to lose to a full Fatigue Jarl. Plenty of the Gravy players will do it.
Take those
the
gloves,
Dios will do it. Some Prisms will do it. That's already enough matchups to be like, I can take this to a tournament and do well if things line up well for me. And your deck basically always does the same thing. So that is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a perfect B tier.
I think B is for bozo tier. It's like you're a bozo if you play this deck, but like you'll win some games.
No, I think it's a legitimate choice. Like if I had like no time to prep for this event, I would maybe just slam Jarl and
lose a bunch of games.
Just deploy my repeatable game plan. And
Well,
hope it
surely
works.
you don't play the like I'm trying to hard counter every single matchup in this very specific way deck with no prep.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Okay.
You can have all the prep you want, bro. Like,
let's mention another Guardian, Victor. I actually am not 100% sure where this goes. It has some good matchups, has some absolutely terrible matchups. It to me feels like another B tier hero where I see the vision of I want to just play Syndras and like Marios and Dios and try and just smush all of those and dodge Verdant's gravy.
Mario's not even that good.
I think
Or that
Victor-
present.
What if they clip that out of context, Dan?
No.
Someone clip that.
I don't know. Tesla's strength
Have I
against
done?
Mario is like pretty gas.
Not that one. You meant
Test
that
of
one.
Iron Grip. Yeah. Test of.
Yeah, of course. But they're still a Guardian. Like, whatever. I'll just block the next turn and you won't deal damage. It's more about, like, they have to combo that with their, like, Goldman Estates.
Or they just.
Or, like, CNC pummels.
What if they just mill you? What if they're Miller's Grindstones boys?
It's not going to work. Please try.
Yeah, it's got to be in the same tier as Jarl. If not, don't play.
Yeah, I think they're similar. I think Victor is probably the deck that is like better at cleaning up the aggro decks because like you're playing a real deck.
I agree.
Like my guess is that most of the aggro decks have like a pretty good anti-fatigue strat that like works at least some of the time. But like Victor just like plays the game and stomps them and can also fatigue them if it comes up. So feels like he's probably better than Jarl to me. I would also think I don't know. I think they both have win cons into Gravy that are reasonable. I think Victor is harder to play against as Gravy, but I think Jarl probably beats stronger players more often. Just because more of the game is like how fast do you kill the compass.
Okay. Next hero. Let's talk about Acilio. This is another aggro deck that is inconsistent that can win every
Please
matchup.
don't play.
Yeah, this is
I will pay you to not play.
So please don't play this deck, but it is a good deck.
Yeah, it's probably A tier, right?
Yeah, I believe it is A tier.
I don't play it enough to like have a like valid take, but like this deck's
think
crazy.
I think it's B just because it's does the thing less often than the other decks.
Agree. You're also like you look at the other like aggro soup kind of high rolly decks like Mario, like Mario, Dio, Prism. Those decks are all like so much better into the best deck than Acilio. Like, why would you play the aggro soup high roll deck that is bad into Syndra when there exists like 2 or 3 of these that are actually good into Syndra?
I agree.
Yeah, I guess Gravy stocks being down is negative.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
can
other
see
thing.
that
Yeah,
argument.
Gravy.
I can agree with that. But it's definitely top.
Also,
It's
like,
definitely top of B.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's like on the edge, but I think it like compared to the other kind of good aggro decks, I think there's less of a compelling reason to play Acilio. But I think he's still super strong. He's super broken. He has good matchups. I think there will be probably 1 or 2 Acilios at the top tables at the event.
It's just too powerful to be in B for me, but if it helps people not play it, bottom would be. I'm in.
It's more of just like logically, it doesn't make sense to pick the deck.
It's
But, like,
not
it-
on the same power level as the other aggro decks, which I think we'll put in A.
If Gravy was popular again, then it would make more sense. But because that matchup's like 10% for Gravy now.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk about sure. We'll talk about Vincent. It's
I think we just go through and see the matchups, right? Like good into Syndra.
it's good.
That's like why you play it probably.
It's good in the Syndra. It's not very good in the Verdance or Gravy
really
or Mario.
It's pretty good at Mario.
You think it's good in the Mario?
I'd call it a skill matchup.
Okay.
Mhm.
I would actually think into a lot of the A tier decks, you're reasonable as Vincent. You're good into Syndra, like we said. Verdance just cooks you.
I'm pretty sure you just like are 10% into Verdance, and that basically means it's almost impossible to top 8 the tournament.
Yeah, I would just
Yeah.
straight to B.
It would be
If you like the deck, you think Syndra will be most played.
Yeah, I think
You'll probably brick one round of just like you draw unplayable, and then you'll pair 1 to 2 Verdances, which means you just have to play completely flawlessly in every other round.
Mhm.
agreed. Okay, Puffin is another inconsistent aggro deck, but it's
Straight to B.
straight to B.
when it does the thing, it's
She was
powerful.
with Flash in the pan, but I don't know. I feel like it's don't play, dude. This deck sucks.
I'm also an don't play.
I played against it a little bit. this
Sometimes
weekend,
it's good.
and I played it. I even played it a little myself.
Yeah.
I think this deck is just so bad.
I think it's pretty bad.
It's just a A plus B
I
plus
think-
C plus D deck.
Like,
Yeah, the right word is
every time-
inconsistent, right?
Well, and the thing is, like, B is your opponent says no blocks.
Yeah.
Like you don't even
Your
get.
opponent doesn't comprehend how your cards work.
Yeah, that's like every impressive turn I see with Puffin is because their opponent drew a hand that they didn't want to block with, and
They didn't block
the
with
Puffin
it.
just like went off.
Agreed. I would put it in don't play personally as well.
And I'm guilty
Yep,
of this.
chip
I'm
it.
the one who says no blocks.
Okay. Let's do RKO because I'm ready to argue with some people.
Oh, here we go.
Put it wherever you want, bro. I've given up. You can throw it in S tier. I don't even care at this point.
It's B tier.
I'll use the Cody argument. Show me the tournament data. Yeah.
It's basically the same as Verdance. It gains life, you know?
Yeah,
Once it wins a pro quest, come back to me, bro. Like
it has. Has
I
won
know.
several actually. Quite a lot of them.
How many is several?
Every week it wins them. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can put it.
No.
Bottom of B tier.
No, to be fair, I think if you haven't played a lot of RKO, this deck is
fair.
basically just the first 3 turns are all that really matters because they set basically how the game works. If this deck like opens Sigil, it wins a lot of a matchup that it plays into, which is pretty funny. But going down the line, like its Syndrome matchup is not great. Its Verdance matchup shouldn't be as good as it is, but a lot of the Verdances give it to you. But they shouldn't do it at Worlds. It should be not that great. Gravy is surprisingly better than people think it is because the Gravy can't block profitably, and so you're just sending like 8 to 12 damage at their face constantly. And there's not a lot they can do about that. And you have quite a bit of go again.
I think Gravy's 50-50. If you hit on scabs, you win.
Yeah. A lot of matches do come down to that, but I don't know. I think this is a bottom tier B tier, but I can see how people could do well. If someone said they were playing RKO, I would.
Oh, I would play this over the Guardians for sure.
I would definitely check their dice first. If they're doing well with RKO.
I think if RKO does well, it'll be out of nowhere. But I feel like the deck could still be strong.
Huh. Okay. I just think it's a
The
B.
deck's good.
It's a B tier deck. Like, but it's less
Like,
less
it
about the
wins.
matchups that you need and more about the fact that like you just need to start with health above your opponent, and then the game is like really good for you.
I do think it is a functional deck that does a thing that wins games against other strong decks sometimes.
Yeah.
So the B tier is just the scam tier.
Yeah.
You just have to.
It is kind of a
scam
scammy
your
tier, yeah.
Yeah.
But they exist and they will scam some people. They will stop people from making top 8, and
Dude, it's the
some of them
bozo
might
tier.
make
Like,
a run.
Really, like, I was apt.
Okay, Huntsman has to go there next. Though.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah, slam bozo tier, bro.
Yeah.
He's
it's
like the
good to
same.
me.
Yeah, he's like better into Verdance probably than like the Guardians, but like you don't clean up Syndra.
Yeah, I have no idea how this deck ever beats Syndra, but every Huntsman I talk to claims that they just roast Syndra, and I cannot mathematically figure out how this works. So if you are a Huntsman player out there and would like to inform me on how you actually beat Syndra, I would love to know. But I cannot. I sit down, I look through the turns. How can you possibly ever win the game? And it just doesn't work out.
I think it's because like the Huntsman players, they like astral project the art of their cards onto their opponent, and they like open up their minds and like play with them, and then their opponent like makes a bunch of misplays, and then that's how they win all their games.
I think one of the ideas would be like if you get off some really good copies of the the new card, the blue D-React, you get a lot of silver. That like gives you a decent amount of value of being able to buy back your equipment and like fatigue them with Mask of Perdition. That would be like
I think
my
it's
guess.
more about like I think it's more double troubles on the chain with contract
Yeah.
cards. Like
But I
having
mean, like you
efficient
get to
damage
keep
that
recurring the
also.
Perdition.
I mean, Mask of Perdition is just double trouble. Like
That's what I'm saying too. Yeah, but you can do both.
It's just
agree.
Yeah,
But like
if
double
you-
trouble gives you like above rate attack.
If you recur the Perdition and the shoes, then you get to like do that play like you said, Dan, where
Yeah.
the Syndra's not like blocking 2 cards on double trouble.
yeah. There's still like the
Yeah, I think it's
issue of you have to stop them from drawing cards. Like you still got to do that. So like all of these cool plays are like pretty hard to do when your opponent's just I'm gonna draw a card every round.
yeah, I think it's a lot like RKO. Not this matchup, like the deck in general, where the beginning of the game is really what matters. If the Arachne gets tempo and they can like resolve their 5-card coercive tendencies without taking a bunch of damage, they can kind of just loop you with that like armor recursion.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Slippy, the once great deck now has fallen to the wayside. No one has ever registered this deck in the last 3 months. This poor deck.
I don't even know what this deck does anymore.
I think you just like can't really beat Verdance now that you don't have Bonds.
Yep.
And you're not farming Gravy anymore because Gravy's not as popular. I think you're actually a lot worse to Prism now because they have the new Angelic Attendant, so they can just...
Yep.
You can't really do the strategy of deny them soul. They can just always combo.
Agreed. Yeah, seems,
So, yeah.
just seems don't play to me.
Yeah, I think it's don't play.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
you just don't have the power turns that Mario can have, I don't think.
I think in general, also like one thing, a lot of people I think are confused why Slippy is so worse. I think if you look at the disruption that is like the best in Assassin right now, it's like Mark of the Black Widow, CNC, Leave No Witness, and Codex. And both Arachnes can play these, but previously, like the best disruption was like the Bonds Persuasive Justinic package, which was like so much cleaner and Slippy because Mario is like incentivized to play more dagger cards and like more Mark synergy cards. So like Bonds and Mantle are powerful, but they're a lot less like seamless. Whereas in Slippy, it's just like you just play Bonds when you draw it, and it just like always gets 3 reacts. Like you play Mantle, and if you've seen Bonds already, and your opponent doesn't have Shelter, like you just resolve a Bonds for a big value. And now that Bonds is gone, Slippy is just like not better than disrupting people compared to Marionette, and like his numbers are still just worse, and he doesn't have power plays. So like, kind of, I feel like with Bonds banned, Slippy kind of just like died a little bit.
Yeah, I just think Gravy's not as it's actually simple. Like Gravy's not as represented, and Verdance picked up that share. And Mario, I think, has a much better game plan into Verdance.
Mhm.
So it's kind of just that simple.
Yeah, agree.
Next is Dory.
I'd much rather be Slippy against Gravy.
Yeah.
Next is Dory. Where do we think this goes? No thoughts.
Zero's so forgettable.
Dude, I haven't
dude.
played this deck
Who
since
cares about this hero?
2021. Like,
I don't know, like every tournament, like I show up and I like look at the win rates and like the matchups, and like there's Dorinthia's winning games, but I just don't believe it. Like I think there's there's like people in LSS who like go into all the tournaments and click Dorinthia Iron Song wins game, because I just don't think it actually happens to real people in real life.
Also, like if you play against the Gordon Syndra deck that has 1 million D reacts and you're trying to like Dawnblade, that deck can surely just like reset it, and you've already taken 1 million damage to get those counters. So
yeah,
I don't. Go ahead.
I think the Prism hype might lead to a couple more D react showing up.
And I just think like the Gravy players have figured out how to at least make the matchup close. So you're not really farming Gravy anymore.
Yeah.
And the Gravy play rate went down, as we've been saying.
And Verdance is just a joke.
Yeah, I don't see how you would ever beat a Verdance with either build of Dory.
I'm like, kind of want to put it in don't play.
I think it has to be don't play.
I think it
No.
belongs in don't play, but people are gonna play it, and I don't know. It keeps like winning games at tournaments, but like I'm honestly convinced that like they're just playing against like every like Betsy and Max and like
This is going to be the one that people don't like. They don't like that we
she's
put
like
Dory in
top of the
deck.
don't play meta. No, she's like top of don't play because like she
We don't have
farms
it
all the
sorted.
other don't play decks.
I think
Betsy
she's one
not
of-
number one, man. We don't. It's
I
not
think-
sorted.
Dory's like one of the best decks at turning cards sideways against Dio, though. For what it's worth.
Okay, how about some Fi? There has been some Fi rumblings.
I would advocate for B tier.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Meta position alone. Or
Yeah, I think he's like a
only
Cilia.
because of meta position.
I think he's like a Cilia. Like I think he's like a good deck, but I think he's just like worse than Syndra pretty directly. No Spell Void Dagger and no Flick Knives makes a lot of like just random matchups harder. But I think this deck is still really good. It's just like it's just you just throw it in the line of like this is an aggro deck. Okay, cool. You win the games where you do the aggro thing and your opponent falls over. But
You also just have to deal with the fact that Verdance plays Everbloom Life too. Just like
You just catch so many
Just annoying.
strays from
yeah,
graveyard stuff when I was playing this deck, and I was like, maybe Fi is it. And I would just be like, it was like every 1 out of 4 games, someone would just remove my flame from the graveyard. I'm like, this is ridiculous. There's no, you didn't even run it for me.
Dude, they just run it for the 3 in the corner sometimes.
Yeah, when your deck cooperates, I think you're good into the top 3.
I would put it higher in B tier personally. I think it's like
Yeah, it's not super
one
ordered,
of the best
but yeah.
B tier decks. Like I played it, like I think the deck is good, but it's just like
The hunted upgrades were very real.
yeah, you just throw it on the
Still
pile.
inconsistent though. Still not that powerful.
Agreed. Okay, how about some Fang? I play this against this deck every week. At every
I think
event that
this
I go to, I will play against the Fang.
I think this deck sucks.
This deck is getting worse and worse by far.
I think it's not the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
it's don't play.
Yeah, like this deck does like a powerful thing if your opponent lets you, and like ain't nobody gonna let you do that shit right now, dude. Like you got so much going on. Like you got chums, you got mask of momentum, you got arcane damage, and
I think
like,
everyone's up on D-React now too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Like even Gravies are playing more D-React.
yeah, you just get completely hosed by everyone. Like that deck's just completely.
Yeah, I don't see how you ever beat Prism too, because she can always just like reset your stack.
Yeah, I think this is don't play.
I agree that this is now don't play. I think the deck is good. It's just it fell out of the meta. Like it was pretty good in the last meta.
I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of decks that have fallen, how about some Florian?
Just straight to don't play, dude. Right? Like
We can
Syndra's
explain why.
bad.
Yeah.
Syndra's bad. Verdance is bad. Gravy's bad. Mario's probably good. Maybe Dio's good.
It's not even that good though.
Whatever. Like Mario, Dio, Prism, you're like probably ahead.
Yeah.
So like
Prism got way worse with the new card because it was like
yeah,
it was
Angelic
pretty close
hard.
before, but Angelic makes the really annoying.
you also got the Herald of Secum.
Yeah.
Which is like also pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I think this deck just sucks. Like you're like really bad into all of the best decks. Like in all of the top 3.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to play.
Yeah. It's just
Agreed. It is not the Earth deck that should exist right now.
yeah.
Kano.
There exists 2 better wizards and a better hero.
What about Kano?
Or he's not.
The deck that will probably be legal but might not.
Oh, the meta's kind of shifting pretty unfavorably, I would say. Like happy about the top 2 decks, and then really unhappy about the rest of A tier.
It's also not like that. I don't think you're even that good into Verdance. I've played a lot recently. I think Kano is probably ahead with the right plan, but it's kind of hard. Like some games, like Verdance just kind of kills you quickly, and you just don't have hands that can kill them in response to them killing you, and they just like kill you on like turn 4 or 5 sometimes. Especially if
Yeah, that's why
you're
I said happy, not like overwhelmingly.
How does the
favored.
magic
Like even
typically-
Syndra, like I expect to win, but you only have 3 turns to kill him.
yeah.
How does the
If
magic
they play
typically-
compliance, you just lose if they find it. So I know.
It's all good, bro. How does it go as Verdance typically? Do you find that you're like playing a long game and ABing and gaining life, or are you like just
So-
actively sending 6?
I think in general, like the Verdance can play a few different ways. Normally, it depends on how the Kano plays. If the Kano is doing a lot of blocking and setting up potions, then you kind of just like hit him in the face. I think actually in general, the Verdant strat is normally pretty similar regardless of what they're doing. You just kind of play as aggressive as you can and don't let yourself like die in stupid situations. And then depending on how they play, you can either just like kind of beat their combo. Like sometimes they just like clearly don't have enough because their life total is too low and they had to go off early. Or you just like let them hit you with the wildfire and then you can kill them in response with ideally like a burn bearer or light up the leaves, but sometimes even just like tiny blue spells can get the job done.
It's just curious to me how you can have all that money. Because like if you're presenting lethal, it's usually all your attacks cost 3, whether it's a spell or an attack.
So it's because you just don't block. That's the idea. It's like they just don't take damage to attack you very often, and if part of it is like you can like play and kind of get a feel for when they're gonna go off. I think in general, like you very rarely open yourself up to situations where like you're weak to them just comboing you, and they also are in a situation where they can actually do so. Like, and then towards the end of the game, normally like they're so low that they have been blocking for the last few turns. so they're not able to like keep a big hand and force you to AB. Also, outside of like Aether Spindle, they really have no way to like force you to block on their turn. Like any like vanilla arcane, you can just kind of take, and something like an Aether Flare just requires them to keep so many cards that it's most of the time kind of unreasonable for them to be able to do so.
But you're doing 6 damage. Why can't they keep cards?
You do a lot more than that. It depends on your build, the way you do this, but you have like life
I'm pretty sure
gain.
there's just 0 Verdance hands that do more than 8 damage outside of exactly Tree.
Yeah, that's you. You have trees or rampants, depending on the build, or sometimes you have both. You can set up little healing potion combos sometimes, which can be effective. Um, like I think in general, it's like from the Kano side, it's just kind of hard for them to go off for a lot of the game because you just play so many blues and like you have AB, you have mental blocks that you threaten, and like I said earlier, they can't just like, if they're at 15, they can't like take a bunch of damage, send an Aether Spindle, and then like try to kill you, because you have Striders. So like they kind of just have to stay in this like you don't have to do that much damage for their life total to be very threatened, if that makes sense. Like yeah, you only do 6 damage, but if they're at 15, which is like not hard to get them to, right? They start at 30. They can't just like take that and then go down to no cards, because then they just like die to Storm Striders. It's like a balance where they have to like, in order for you to like lose cards, they have to take damage on their turn, and then also not be too low for you to just like kill them on their turn, and then you also have to not be able to like throw an attack in a way that is easy. Like for example, like you just have like a some attack set. They like spindle you, you AB3, whatever. You send an attack, you have 2 cards in hand. Like, what are they going to do? If they block, maybe you can just gain life, or you swing Waning Moon, or whatever it is. It like you don't have that much aggression, but you have enough life gain to where like their combo has to be pretty big, and your damage is often unpreventable, even if it's only in like 2 or 3 big salvos throughout the game. Like that's often enough to be able to win.
Also, like the Kano has to go in a way that you can't respond to their last spell and kill them, right?
Yeah, which is
There's
really
a lot
hard.
of dynamics at play.
Yeah, for example, in my game against Jesse in the top 8, he had Blazing Aether in his arsenal, and so when I played my spell to kill him, he just responded by popping Storm Striders and playing the Blazing from his arsenal. But he needed the Storm Striders AB to be able to actually block my spell. So if, for example, he had Kano'd a Blazing off the top and he had a Wildfire set, and he had to pop his boots to play the Wildfire earlier in the turn, I would have just killed him in response because he only had AB2 and the math worked out, so he was dead in that spot. And there's a lot of these like small nodes where like the Kano actually just like really can't operate in a way that like lets them play around you just killing them in response, even if they have the resources to do so, which is quite rare that they do.
Okay, so basically the TLDR of this 5 minutes is that Kano's not actually that good into Verdance.
I think Kano
It's
is
probably good. It's just
probably
not that
favored.
good, right?
But
Yeah.
it's not like you're not like farming it, and you can definitely do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Syndra, you're pseudo farming, but it's like you have 3 turns to present
Yeah.
your
And the
40.
Syndras all do play Breaking Point, so like that's a little bit annoying.
I don't think it matters. Like
It's 3 turns. Like
either way, you have like 2 to 3 turns to pop off.
Yeah, if you draw
Okay.
Wildfire, you're gaming.
Okay, so A tier, B tier. What are we doing with the?
Definitely B tier.
I think based on this discussion, it has to be B
Yeah,
because
I think it's B.
I think
you
it's
know
kinda,
you don't want to play into Dio or Prism.
I think it's kind of like medium B.
Yeah,
I
Mario's
think,
just like hoping they left their AB at home. If they brought all 3, you're
like
cooked.
also
If
like
they know how to play.
the way the deck exists right now, it's like the decks that give you space to set up potions, you can set up potions, but like the other decks, it is literally like it's still Kano. Like it's like if Wildfire's not in the top 20, like you have no win condition. Like okay,
Okay.
like it's not great.
Let's go to Kasai.
A tier.
Just like solid B, right?
It's B for sure.
I think this is A. I think this.
I
Is
think
one of
it's
the
an A
best
tier deck.
Oh, interesting. I can
This
buy
deck. So here, let me give you crucial information. This deck is like not that bad in Verdance. It's like I think
Oh,
Verdance is
straight
still
to A.
favored, but it's like close, and I think there will be some Kasai players at the event who, if you match them against like 10 random Verdances, they'll win like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, I
And
think it's very similar to
key
Mario, where you have
the
like
key to
solid.
winning this is like they have life gain in the new card, or like they just like what's the thing that gives them the edge now?
So they just have. So first of all, they just have some games where they just like make a bunch of cell swords like really fast. Like some
Mhm.
games, for example, they go like, okay, Dominion. They like Dominion Hat. They go like attack with sword, and you don't have a D react, and they just like play Blood Follows Blade, and then next turn they like make a gold with Kasai, because like for like they had a react over your blocks or whatever it was, and then they play Raise an Army for 2, and then they have 3 cell swords, and the game's over. This happens like not this isn't like the only way they win, but this happens enough of the time to like account for a lot of the winning, because Verdance just like can't deal with a bunch of cell swords
You
early.
can't kill men.
And then because Kasai is a deck that's like very flexible with hand size, she has the ability to exploit Verdance's like main flaw. Not even flaw. Like one of the best play patterns to enact against Verdance, which is like 3 in the bottom corner when they play the big tree that attacks for 8. Like you felling them and they block 2 cards, and they're really good at doing that. Kind of whatever your play is. Like they're good at blocking you for most of your damage, and also still throwing like attacks and damage, and then they have just enough power with cell swords and stuff to where like they can actually win the game if you draw like pretty well. And then if you don't draw well and they just like block and throw damage, like you just lose sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, then A tier seems fun.
Also, yeah, they do have life gain. Like life gain is really good against Verdance, and it slots really well into that deck.
She's quite strong into gravy too, right? That's like the main appeal.
Yeah, she's very strong in the gravy, and then she's pretty good
She's
into
strong into the
Syndra.
field.
Her real issue is that she has issues when other decks high roll, or if she like misses a go again on the turn, it can be like an issue. But in the deck is rather aggressive now. It runs a lot less D reacts than those type of warrior decks used to, so it can just fall behind and run into issues that way. But if it gets off to like a good start, it's like pretty hard to claw it away from Kasai. They can just, if they get ahead, they can just say no blocks, and their hand like converts really well.
I think
The deck
They do
also
attack back.
the deck also randomly just like has no blocks in it too. I've noticed just like from playing into it locally, like if they play 3 fables, right? They play Ataya, and the gold one.
Yeah.
And they play like Seduce Secrets. It's like sometimes that comes up where they just can't block and they have to keep these cards like 1 card 2. It's bad.
I think it's like Mario a little bit, where you are kind of this like fast aggressive deck that has some power cards that are really strong when they line up. I think she's just like the more defensive version that can like basically end games on like turn 2 or 3 like almost deterministically with cell swords. And it doesn't have to be turn or 3. Like it could be like a more consistent game plan throughout the game. And Mario is just like a little bit better at being aggressive and disruptive than she is.
But like you said, Mario has the ability to pivot the game back.
So yeah, I think Kasai has the ability to do that in matchups where cell swords are strong.
I feel like
I
cell
think-
swords is all she's got, but
But
they're
it
a big
doesn't
deal.
actually pivot the game back. It's just like vanilla damage.
No, but it's like really, really strong when every turn is like block with a card, maybe 2 cards, and then my turn is like pop a gold or draw a card in some way, swing 2 daggers, pitch a blue, swing 3 cell swords for 9, get Valiant Dynamo.
I think the point is that's not strong when there's only 2 turns left.
Yeah, like
No, I don't.
you're
I don't
just
think
getting
like,
burned out. Like
if
you're
you
not.
if you just like think about how much like value that is, though, if the gold is like trading free, whatever. So like your daggers are free. You're getting like four points out of your daggers. You're getting 1 point out of your boots, and then you're converting a card to 9 with like 3 cell swords. And then you have to have like some other card that gives you go again. But a lot of the times these are like not that unreasonable. Like if it's like unsheathed.
I think you're extremely verdant sprained in this opinion of like cell swords actually living.
No, I don't disagree. I'm saying like there are things that the deck does where like when you get behind, sometimes you just do this broken thing. But I do think like it is more matchup dependent than something like Arachne. Which what I was gonna say is I think Kasai is the more like defensive version that targets matchups where you want to be able to be defensive, and then I think Arachne is better at targeting matchups where you want to be able to be aggressive, push disruption, and I think in general also disruption and damage is historically the best way to come back in games of Flesh and Blood, because you just like make them take a million and then
Which is Mario, not Kasai.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's keep her at the end of A.
Yeah, I think that's
Agreed.
where she belongs.
Oh yeah, agree.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about KO.
Kaio.
Oh, it has never won anything. Straight to B.
That is
agreed.
That's what we learned earlier.
B tier, no discussion.
not...
Terrible hero.
Okay, Noah,
Who would play it?
tell us about this KO deck that you like so much, and that Yuanji has released a guide that is available on our Metafile.
Yeah, it's true. You just basically don't really care who your opponent is. You do the number. There's not disruption that can be targeted for you as KO outside of like, assassin stuff of just hitting, cards out of your hand kind of thing, but there's not something that someone can do to specifically hose you as KO.
What about the weakest link?
This is like not a real card.
Agreed, but it could be.
Sure. You could play like Hold the Line and Weakest Link, and like you'll show KO, but there's no like real cards you're gonna put in your 80 that are relevant for anybody else that are gonna have overlap for KO. And I think because of his equipment suite, you're able to just fix a bit of those problems of hands that wish that they had more, whether it's they wish they had Go Again, you have Beaten Trackers, or you wish you had access to more resource cards, you have the chest, you wish you could just get skip your opponent's Chain Ender, so you have enough life to actually play your hand out, and you have the Flesh Bag. So you kind of just have like the catch-all of your equipment solves every situation that you could get into.
Is it unreal to say that KO is the most consistent deck in the game?
Yes, that's a horrible take, I think.
No, I'm joking.
It is in a vacuum incredibly consistent. If you think about all you want to do is just play it Wounded Bull every turn.
Yeah. But you don't. Like, that's my issue with the deck. Like, a lot of times you throw like a blue 6, or you draw all reds and 2 of them don't block.
I mean, that's pretty unlikely. You only have 2 reds in the deck that don't block.
Yeah,
And
that'd be very
some of the
impressive.
reds aren't even in there all the time.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, it's not S tier because of the things Dan says. Like, you're still a deck that plays red cards that cost money to play, and you still have to attack your opponent. You're not like cheesing them with damage that they can't block if they have cards that block. You're still reliant sometimes on just your opponent can block you and ask you to convert, and sometimes you can't. So I think it's A in a sense of it just has the best turn value regardless of who your opponent is. But you can lose if your opponent is able to profitably get on hits into you, or you draw those hands of 4 reds that cost money or 4 blues in a matchup where you can't afford to just block your whole hand.
Yeah, the blues are so devastating and frustrating.
Sometimes the blues are fine in a
Agreed.
fairy tale land where your opponent is just doing vanilla and you can just block, but unfortunately current FAB you can't afford to just block 12 and move on to the next turn.
Yeah, you usually can't afford to give your opponent just like a free 4 or 5 card hand, which is
Yeah, exactly.
the actual issue.
You just dream that when you have the blues that one of them is Tear Limb, or you have like the wind up with Roughshod, you at least like do something.
Yeah.
Like the blues are still like serviceable. Like most of the time your 4 blues can at least do something, but occasionally you do have those a bunch of Raging Onslaughts.
Agreed. I know. I think that
Yeah, I agree.
it's another one of those, consistent, inconsistent aggro decks where if you open well in the first couple of turns of the game, like 3 to 4 turns in the game, and quite often, then the game feels really easy, and you can win every match you sit across from. So I think it's definitely like an A tier deck.
Yeah, the armor is a big deal. But then he
Armor's
also has
great.
like the Ocelio thing going on where like if it lines up, you just like 30 them. And
It has
What he's
it,
supposed to
it's
do.
a deck that actually has comeback mechanics, which is a little bit
Oh, yeah.
rare. in the
Yeah, it's
game
like
right now.
if you have to, you fall back as like a combo deck, right? You just block until you get your combo and hope it's big enough.
Yep. And it's one of the only decks too that like profitably blocks. There's like Victor's the only other one really that's like obtaining value. I mean, I guess you can say Rootbound is like a little bit of value or Blood on the Water, but I think KO has the most cards that abuse the clash mechanic on defense to like get much more than 3 value on defense.
Yeah, I would say other than like Loyalty Beyond the Grave, Rootbound Carapace, Mental Block, all the Arachne traps, then yeah, he's the only one.
Well, Mental Block is trolling. Like half the time, Mental Block is a 2-block. You look at this piece of shit and you don't arsenal it.
Dude,
So that's
saying Mental
completely
Block,
false.
dude, it's like
Wait, wait,
it's
wait.
actually
Let me
the
just
best
say
card.
Wait. I have to say how everything you said is just false. Loyalty, completely false, because when you draw 1 loyalty, you played a red D-React that blocks 3. You put Evasive Leap in your CC deck. So you're completely trolling. Then Arachne Traps. Those are also cards that are Evasive Leap if your opponent's already marked. Why would I play this card that just like marks them again?
No, they're
I feel
really
like
big deal, though,
dissing
when they
Mental
are
Block
not
is
marked.
the Arachne Traps and the loyalties are a little bit of a stretch. But like
Mental Block is completely
saying
troll.
Mental
Your deck
Block
is
trolling
30
is
cards that suck ass. You
Mental
don't
Block is
arsenal them.
actually just like the best card that anybody in the game has access to against Syndra. Like it's actually just the best deck card against Syndra that exists. Like what are you talking about?
We didn't.
I'm pretty sure Shelter from the Storm is better than Mental Block for Syndra.
No, it's not.
It has the modality of blocking 4 when they attack with Blaze Headlong. You're looking at Mental Block like a fool.
Dude, I don't know. Mental Block being able to like profitably block a Flick Knife though is so crazy.
How is it profitable? You get 2 value out of your card.
And then you draw a card.
No, you draw a Ponder token. A Ponder token is not drawing a card.
Brother, you got a hat. If you miss on your 1 Mental Block that you're like 20% likely to miss on, then like yeah,
It's definitely not 20%, but okay, sure.
No, it's like 20% on like actual whips. There's more like medium cards that don't always convert to 3, but
Dude, I hated Mental Block against Syndra.
oh no, play more.
Okay, next.
I mean, agreed. It was a small sample.
Marlon. People are playing this deck. This is a deck that
Dude,
exists in the game.
This deck just won a Green Tree event, right? Like I
An
mean,
LL
surely this
event.
deck is super strong in CC,
different
right?
format.
This deck's OP in CC. This deck won a tournament, right?
Yeah.
Right?
When this deck rolls, it's decent. It just doesn't roll that often.
Bro, you really said Loyalty Beyond the Grave is the same as Clash? I literally just draw a card.
Test of strength versus
When
loyalty.
you resolve 2 Loyalty Beyond the Grave, it's 6 value, right? Like in theory, you draw a card.
Yeah, it's so
When I resolve 1 Vigorous Smash Up, and then I'm able to send a 2-cost into a Claw, it's the same thing. So if I draw 2 Vigorous Smash Ups, it's like I resolve 2 Loyalty Beyond the Grave.
The loyalty was not a
That was a bad one.
Ridiculousness.
Okay, where's this Marlin go?
B tier.
I don't know, B tier.
I also think it's B tier.
Yeah, nice.
I don't think makes sense to me.
It's like it's
Somewhere
like
in
it's
Is it
super
good into
incon-
Syndra? Surely it's good into Syndra, and that's why you play it, right?
No, it's like it's
It is good into
inconsistent
Syndra.
aggro deck. Like your cards only do stuff sometimes. Like if you draw King Shark harpoons and red harpoons, like yeah, you're probably good against Syndra. If you draw a bunch of like blue harpoons and King Krakens and
They have
murderous rabbles,
they have Tar Pit
like,
Trap, which makes the matchup
Yeah,
actually functional.
Yeah, you still have like all the Azalea Palms. You have Codex.
Yeah, you have Conk too. Some people play.
You have Kong.
You have Tar Pit Trap to say
Yeah.
that you don't draw this turn.
yeah, like the deck has good cards, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Reinar.
It's B
Wait,
tier.
is it good into Verdance too, though? It should be, right?
Verdance is real. So like the way that Marlin, I think in general, is like strong is she's a little bit behind rate compared to most other heroes in general, but the disruption scales really well because you get to look at their hand, and so you can just like ruin their whole turn. But Verdance is often quite resilient against this. It's pretty rare that you like have the exact harpoon that snipes the like one thing that's unique in a Verdance hand. Like most Verdance hands have like maybe like 1 blue or 1 red or like 1 non-attack or 1 attack. And then like sometimes there's like 2/2. But even when there is like it's basically never where you like make it so where the Verdance can't convert her cards.
Yeah, it's less
Unless
about the
there's
Verdance
one.
can't convert their hand. It's more just like you sack value. Like if I do King Shark, and like your attack is a tilling, or you have to do like
Right.
before you're turned on, you have to do like Heartbeat into Moon instead. For example, it's like you're losing value because you can't play the tilling, but it doesn't completely brick your hand.
Exactly.
And also, don't forget, you have key card, mental block. It can stop overpower and make a ponder token. And then you put your card nice and safely down in the arsenal.
Yeah, I think she should be like right behind Kano personally. I'd rather play her than Fire all day.
I think this hero's good. I think it has an issue closing games and a lot of pieces, but
which is kind of ironic. It's like the best hero in the game at closing when your opponent's at 3. But like, man, it's kind of hard if your opponent's.
It's just
at
because
5.
the amount of resources, the amount of resources it uses to get the opponent to 5 is like, then it starts possibly being an issue after that of being able to actually do enough.
The 3 of a kinds are just so crazy though. Like the times you're like, oh, I have 1 blue, I pop a gold, I draw 3 of a kind. Now I shoot 10 overpower. It's ignorant, but
okay. And then
I'd
last,
actually move the B tier a lot.
Last is Raynar.
Don't play.
Oh,
Is that accurate?
Don't right here. For the calling, he's like B tier.
Yeah.
For worlds, he's don't play. You can't play a hero before he becomes playable.
Name any heroes, Dan, that he's good in S and A tier. Which one of those heroes is he good into?
Verdance?
He's gonna say Prism, and I don't even think he's right.
It's not good into Prism anymore.
Verdance?
no Verdance.
No,
But it's not even good into Verdance.
And Gravy.
And Gravy.
Verdance has life gain. Like, who cares about Intimidate?
Hey, they can't resolve 4-card hands most of the time.
Yeah, but you can't intimidate their whole hand.
You can't intimidate 4 cards every turn, dude. You live in the fantasy land.
Not every turn, but you're just doing a big combo turn. You're just like, how Reinhardt attempts to win the game is chip a little bit and then win the game in 1 turn.
Yeah, but she converts like.
But you life gain during that time.
Yeah.
You're not actually chipping.
It's quite hard. Like the Reinhardt just has to go off in like the first couple turns. If you give him space, it's pretty hard.
I think it's a little not giving.
Because the Verdances also play Bodge too. So like on that combo turn, they're getting 5 value out of their hat. They're getting 2 value to the gloves. Probably getting at least 1 block out of a card with their hand with the chest. Like they're able to stymie a lot of the damage on that turn and heal a bunch. And that's the one deck where you have a chance.
And he's probably gonna play.
Every other one of those decks is Copium.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call you a bozo. I'd just call you I just wouldn't even respond if you told me.
If Jarl is playable, so is Ragnar.
You're 50-50
Put him next to
into
his
a lot of
buddy
these
Jarl.
decks. Because like you can just ignorantly no block and roll scabs and win. So like you're never really worse than 50% into a lot of them.
I personally would not play Reinhardt. But like
the deck's bad,
people who are willing to play it and are actually good at it, like Reinhardt's been showing up at these tournaments and having good runs at almost every
dude.
single
Fatigue Leviathan was like X3 at the 1 calling, like whatever.
I'm just pointing out that it has consistently been at top tables at the last several callings.
Okay,
and that's not
Florian is in don't play.
Sure, it hasn't been having the same type of runs. I'm not saying that all that matters. All I'm pointing out is that it's been a while since Reiner's been like actually pretty decent. It's the deck isn't completely unplayable, like you're trying to make it out to be. Like we've actually seen examples of it doing well.
It's not completely unplayable.
I wouldn't play it. It's not my type of deck.
But don't play it.
But if you want to play Reinhardt, you're not like
you're 50-50, dude.
Yeah.
Dude,
Reinhardt won one of my pro quests. It was like 50 people.
If you want a 50% win rate, you can play Reinhardt. You just click the button every turn.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how the meta works.
Yeah, so maybe it's good.
Fair. Well, that's the tier list. Do we have anything?
Make sure you recap it when we're done.
You had to bring up. Why did you have to cause so much strife, Lucas, and myself? Like, we just had to argue at the end, man. We were doing so well.
I don't know about that. But S tier, we have Syndra and Verdance. A tier, we have Gravy, Mario, Dio, Prism, KO, and Kasai. And then B tier is Acilio, Kano, Phi, Marlin, Victor, Jarl, Vincent, RKO, Huntsman, and then a bunch of stuff in Don't Play. It's kind of how it feels to me. This makes sense. A is just it's just an aggro meta. It's an aggro meta with a couple of decks that aren't aggro.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let's go to the LL tier list. Okay, we are here with a LL tier list. We have gone ahead since there's too many heroes. We have put a bunch of them in Don't Play. Feel free to take a look at everything that is.
Find us in the comments about the Don't Play.
Yeah. If you have some super secret worlds deck or calling deck that does something with one of these heroes, let me know in the comments, and I'll see if that's accurate or not. And tell
Crown
me
of
how stupid I
Dominion,
am.
cash in Tekla. It's
Yeah,
the wave.
you can tell me how how we're wrong. Okay, some of these are going to be a little quick. There are quite a lot of heroes to go through. I think we should just start with the obvious S tier deck, or at least one of the most played decks, which is going to be a Viscerai. Not Vincent, but
So close,
Viscerai.
Like, whoa.
Seconds
Vincent.
from disaster.
Okay, so we're gonna do a Viscerai. They did a bunch of nerfs, and Viscerai said, "I don't care," and is still being played and still pretty much good. They just slowed him down a little bit.
He's not even a hero. He's just a chess piece.
He's a chess.
Well, he's a hero
He's a
because
chess piece
on the
and a
turn you
corpse.
pop, on the turn you pop the chess piece, your hero gives you like 10 value. That's
It's,
why he's a hero.
it's a corpse. He's like a chess piece and a corpse. Like they're dragging along this poor dead purple man, and then they have this they have like a castle on wheels, and that's the Bloodsheath Skeleton. Poor guy.
And like he surfs the Mordred tide, you know?
Yeah.
Like without his hero power, Mordred tide is useless.
He also legit does have a good hero ability. That's just like not why he's like the best.
Yep. Being able to not a combo for a lot or a little is pretty powerful. And then he just is very fast. He's relatively consistent for LL standards. And you can play a bunch of different game plans, whether you're like stacking with him or just going aggro, and he can kind of adjust to whatever his opponent is. He's also like relatively immune to warmongers. Yeah, sometimes you can get him with it, but most of the time he'll just be like, okay, I'll just make more rune chance because they have that ability. So, I mean, sometimes they even run warmongers. So that could be a thing. Any other things to say about this right here at S tier? I think it'll be probably the most played deck.
Yeah, if you don't have a game plan for Vis, you've already lost.
Yeah, I think Viscerai is kind of just the like default deck right now, where like it's just the aggro deck that people kind of understand is powerful. And it seems like especially those who are not a member of a big team are probably going to be quite underprepared for this tournament. I know we are on probably like one of the biggest teams, and we're still going to feel underprepared for this tournament. So I think it would make sense if Viscerai was like, I mean, we all think it's going to be the most played, but I think it'll probably have higher representation than most people would anticipate based on how strong the deck actually is and how many people want to play him. Just I think a bunch of people will just be like, whatever, it's LL, I'll just play the best deck, throw darts at the wall for 6 rounds, and then go back to the real format.
I mean,
it is funny how we call it like the purple Discord because it's Viscerai, and that storyline has been like, you know, the actual. If you think about what Living Legend means, it's like he's probably the epitome of like, you know, face of FAB, Living Legend of FAB. Obviously, Starvo had his time in the sun, but it's just like,
well, he also like had the hero's journey more than like a lot of the other heroes, where like he was just unplayable dog shit forever, and then he was good, and then he was dog shit again, and then he was good again, and then he got banned, and he had like a whole new story arc in LL. Like you could write books about this man.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's just start going down the list. Aurora is another one of the Rune Blades that is playable in this format. That has LL.
Though.
She gets to play Warmongers, so she's playable. That's like really, I think, what it is. Like she's a deck that can do fast, powerful things sometimes. She has Face Purgatory, she has Arc Lightning, she has Channel Lightning Valley. But
a good combo
and she gets to she gets to play Warmongers.
Who do we even care about Warmongers?
Yeah, I don't think that she gets to play Warmongers.
We just said the S tier deck doesn't care about Warmongers.
Yeah, I don't think that matters. It's more that she gets to potentially be faster than Viscerai because you have Art of War, Tome of Findall with Arc Lightning. It's like you have more ability to see more cards in your deck, and your combo turn does a similar thing to this, where it's just very hard to interact with because you're doing Arc Lightning and Ball Lightning, and your opponent's not playing more than AB1, and even if they were, it's 1 million arcane.
Mm-hmm. I think Warmongers is still relevant into some of the meta, which we'll get into more.
Yeah, it is relevant. I agree.
But it's not necessarily the most relevant into Viscerai, but into like some of the decks we're going to talk about, like Dio, Marlin, if people still play Chain, decks like that. It is like a legitimate thing, I think.
I think the biggest problem with the Warmongers is that, like, on the turn she's popping off, she really wants to have synergy. Like, you want to have all the lightning and elemental cards to work with your ball lightning.
It's actually go ahead, Finisher.
Yeah, I would say, and you also, some of your more powerful plays involve casting like Serenade, Arc Lightning, and Tome of Final. Like, you're playing non-attacks actively, so it's not just like a free roll.
I think the Warmongers hitting you definitely can be relevant. The first blue converts pretty well on basically every Arc Lightning turn because you have Starfall and Grasp.
But if you're not pitching a lightning card, then you're just like trolling with your CLV, you know?
Well, so some like there are situations where that's relevant, but like that's a very specific hand, right? Like in general, like a blue card is something that you can make good use of in basically every combo turn. Sometimes it'll like, oh, your CLV will die compared to like a different blue, but it's not like, especially if it's like not the only or one of the only big bricks in your deck. It's, at least in my opinion, it's not like a huge deal on your go turn. Like, it's not like
either way, it's just one of the aggro decks in the format that.
Yeah, it's completely unimpressive.
Is
it A or B?
It's B.
It's B.
It has a pretty terrible Starvo matchup. Just like,
yeah, it's really bad.
god awful.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of the worst.
It's one of the worst Starvo matchups, but yes.
Straight to B.
Yeah, it's straight to B. It's just another aggro deck if you want to play an aggressive aggro deck that has a combo piece in it. Like, there you go. Yeah. Here's one of them. Azalea is a LL deck that also exists in the format.
We should like talk about.
She's not the best ranger. That's crazy.
We should talk about the real decks before we like explain why all the don't play decks are don't play, right?
Sure.
Well, no, we could put more decks in don't play, and then
I was just going through it.
Azalea is at least worth an explanation.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Azalea has red in the ledger, but that's it. Like, you have like other disruption that other rangers have, but she's just not the best ranger.
Agreed.
What the hell are you doing playing Azalea? Maybe not even the second best ranger.
And also, it's funny too. You catch a little bit of strays of like people starting to put defensive cards in their deck, and now you're subbing Azalea when.
Also, like, we talk about how Warmongers isn't that good, but like, it is a card that is good against a lot of the decks, and some of the decks can play, and she gets hosed by Warmongers like almost harder than anybody else in the game. Like,
agreed.
Okay. Just like eternally have to give up bullseyes.
You want to talk about other popular decks? We can talk about Starvo. We will definitely disagree on this hero.
Straight to B.
But I think this is a B tier deck, personally. Yeah. I'm not joking. I know you're going to disagree, and that's fine. I'll actually ask you, but like my opinion of this hero is that the way
Cody had a bad tournament.
No, I had a lot of practice with this deck, and the issue is the way you have to build this deck is not what makes him powerful in order to actually do the thing. And too many of the aggro decks don't care if you just fuse like 8 dominate go again, 9 dominate go again, and then swing. Like, they don't care. No one cares about this. Like, you can do this. What actually matters is the 6 cards in your deck that actually have text on them when you use his hero ability. And if you just miss it early, like, you fall infinitely behind. If anyone actually texts for the deck, it's like so bad. It's like he's supposed to control the aggro decks, but like, you have no agency over the fact if you get to control them or not.
I think it's funny that you say that the people can like tech for it more, but you're also saying that like the best way to build is like to not worry about the on hits, right? I think the deck is just different than it used to be. I think the way it works now is like you're basically just like an aggro deck. It's like KO, like legit. Like, you're an aggro deck that you have some variance that's in your face, but you have really consistent equipment, which not literally, but like basically nobody else in the format has equipment as good as you. Like, Scaletta is good. And Scaletta is more powerful than what Starvo has access to, but it is not as consistent. And basically no other hero has equipment that is close to as strong. His weapon is also just the best in the game. Like, Winter's Wail is just so broken. Like, it's the kind of thing where Starvo is not what he used to be, where he's like disruption, like big guardian attack, keep all the aggro decks in check. I think he's just like a pretty reasonable aggressive deck with a good fridge that disrupts people pretty seamlessly and puts them on a fast clock. I think he plays almost like kind of like Lexi, but instead of ranger cards, you have guardian cards in a fridge, where like you're just hitting them hard. You're disrupting them with like Winter's Bites and Fellings and CLFs, and then you get to play like Hypo and Warmongers. So you kind of just play these like And then obviously you also have access to spinals and star structure and all this kind of stuff. I think he's just like he has all of the tools for all of the matchups, and then you just play. Like he just feels like you're flipping a bunch of coins, but you're interacting, you're blocking, you're forcing your opponent to block, you're playing a game of Flesh and Blood. I think he is weak into Runeblade, but I don't think it's like the Viserai matchup is like unwinnable. Um, Although that could be different. That matchup I haven't done as much testing as I would like. The games that I have played from both sides feels like you can definitely win on either side, but um, I think he's A tier. I don't think he's like super broken. I don't think he's like OP needs nerfs. Like this deck just keeps all the decks in check, but I think he's just like he's solid. I think he's good into a lot of decks. There are a bunch of aggro decks that are bad into Starvo, like Dio, Chain, Aurora, like these kinds of decks that like are legitimately reasonable picks and will be played. And he just kind of cleans those up.
I think he misspoke. When you said Chain, you didn't mean Chain.
I mean, I did not mean Chain. Sorry, I meant Dio, Aurora, and Zen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he has some bad matchups and some good matchups, but he's quite powerful, and I don't know, I think he's like textbook A tier. Like he's a good deck in a format where so many of the decks are like infinitely polarizing matchups and like you're just flipping a bunch of coins. He feels like one of the more consistent decks. Where like the game isn't decided on like
I think
I'm gonna flip Sonata and
I feel like you spam consistent way too much without.
yeah, I guess there's very different
what that
forms.
actually means.
Let
Like,
me
Just saying
take this,
positive, like positive
mean?
thing, positive thing.
Yeah, like you're saying the deck is strong. Like it doesn't mean anything. Let me give an example. Just collect your thoughts while I talk.
Okay.
Like, if you think about what a Starvo hand texture is, it most likely, because of the ratios of the deck, contains an ability to play either a Ball Lightning or a Guardian Attack or a Felling of the Crown or swing an Icy Hammer. It's like pretty hard to have a hand that can't do at least one of those things. And if you're doing any amount of those things, then you're disrupting the opponent and playing on or above rate. So I think that's why you can say he's consistent in that regard of like every turn you're doing something that's above rate or disrupting the opponent, or most likely both.
I think also one way that Starvo's consistent compared to a lot of the other heroes is so much of his value is derived from his equipment and from his cards just doing the thing that they say they do. So like you compare like Starvo's strengths, which are like powerful equipment, disruption, and just like the ability to disrupt and do damage every turn. Or if not every turn, like Noah was saying, like you're able to just do something that is meaningful every turn. And like compare something like Winter's Bite or Felling, which is trying to like play on your opponent's strength of keeping 5-card hands, to some of the other deck strengths, like Viserai, for example, where you have to play a big Sonata that reveals like 12 cards, and you might just have a bad split and you just lose. Or you play something like Dio and like you have your go off turn and you just
rounds and then you just lose. Like because you can't keep up with any of the aggregates.
Yeah, so well that's I think the way that Starvo wins is by playing to the strength of disruption. Just like in a format where everyone's just trying to do the most broken thing, you just are trying to make it so where their hands are smaller and people have to do less broken things, and you just try to make the game fair, and you are unfair enough that if you can actually like you're unfair enough to make the game fair, and then once the game is fair, you're pretty strong.
I think he's solidly an A, and we can move on probably.
Sure, you could. I think the deck is bad, but it'll be played, and I have no issue playing against Starvos at LL, and I will be happy to do so. Okay,
We'll be happy to play.
Next, another Aurora deck. I'm gonna go through these quick. We don't have to go through all of these in super high deck, but like Briar's just another Aurora deck. It has CMH. It does the thing. If it draws the pieces with the CMH, it is incredibly powerful. When it doesn't draw that, it's like a meh deck.
I think it's like meaningfully better than Aurora.
No,
They're basically the same deck. They're basically both.
I think like I think Briar is like actually like pretty reasonable into Starvo, whereas Aurora is like completely doomed. Like if
Yeah,
I'm
but Star's
Briar,
not good.
like I feel like if I'm Briar, I'm like okay sitting down against Starvo. If I'm Aurora, it's just like I don't want to play.
I feel like way fewer Briar hands can race Viscerai though.
I can believe this.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I think
I think
Briars
that
don't
matters
play
more.
personally, but he's fine.
I mean, when he does a thing, he's powerful, or she does a thing, she's powerful. Dio is like the best deck in the game or the worst deck in the game, depends on what what you drew in the first 3 turns of the game. It blows up any of the aggro decks in 3 turns. It can't really play into Starvo at all, and Warmongers completely hoses it.
It definitely plays into Starvo. I think you just lose most of the time.
Yeah.
Like I think the deck wins games, and like you have plans that are reasonable, but I do think for the most part you're always going to be behind.
I think it just has to be A tier, right? Oh, you don't think so?
Yeah, I think you.
Yeah,
Slam
I
the
mean,
second
it beats everything.
I
in
think just
B.
because of power
Yeah,
level.
it just like beats everything
Yeah.
in B, and then sometimes beats the S tier decks as well.
Yeah,
and
it's
when it does its thing, like, dude, there is no way to live.
I think this is like the best deck with some weaknesses.
Dio.
I think it's like where Dio is. I think Bravo is like not that good of a deck. That's like he just is in a niche. Viscerai is like best deck that does the powerful thing. Dio is just like the broken deck that has like 2 or 3 too many problems to actually just be the best deck. But it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So I think like solidly A tier for sure.
Okay, let's talk about Chain. I think Chain is kind of a. It can. I think it's down in B tier. Like it can win all of these
Yeah.
matches, but you're like not favored into any of them. The deck's super inconsistent
But
now.
it's surely at the top. Let's not get crazy.
It's at the top of B.
Sure, it like flips with Viscerai. It's completely losing into Dio. Starvo matches has a lot of failure points, and then it can still just lose to any of these other decks, but it can also beat any of the other decks.
Yeah, it could also just win to any deck.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. There's not like a good point in playing the deck right now.
The band's worked. Good job.
The bands work. The deck's kind of meh.
Format saved.
If currently right now I don't plan on playing Chain. If I
That's a bad chain.
if I suddenly find something that makes the deck like good, I will play it. But currently right now, it's not the deck I'm playing at Worlds. So I just don't see any reason to. Let's talk about Dromai. Dromai's been getting a little bit more popular going into the meta because it has a pretty good Starvo matchup from what people have been saying. And then it puts out a lot of damage while having a board state, and a lot of decks are unable to deal with the board state in a profitable way because they need to use all their cards to make a big combo turn. It also asks opponents to play normal FAB every single turn, and a lot of these decks are like combo aggro decks. They're unable to actually play Flesh and Blood every turn, and if you fall behind against Dromai, she can block 3 cards and then send 12 damage at you for what she has on board. So because of all that, she's A tier in my opinion.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Dude,
agree
that
with
was a-
literally
that was a
everything
great
you
summary.
said. I agree with everything you said, and I have nothing to add.
Okay.
Yeah, that was marvelous, man. Honestly.
You nailed it.
Okay. Phi is another one of these inconsistent aggro
These
decks
don't
that has like a
Straight to
combo.
B.
It's a B.
I think Fies don't play.
No, it's literally just dodge Starvo. Starvo's the only like real issue.
It's just the same
And
as
then
the
you're,
other
like,
3
a little
decks down
slower
here.
than
Like,
some.
it's just
Yeah, he's probably good into Viscerai, to be honest.
might be.
No, it's the same stuff.
Now we can talk about a deck that has to be don't play. It's Florian. It just can't beat Viscerai.
Yeah, don't play this deck.
Do
This
not-
deck is good if like Starvo was the only S tier, and like the A tier was like a bunch of corpses with diseases.
Yeah, you also don't beat Dromai. Ironically, I feel like because of how the Florian deck is built with so many cards that are passive, you might not even beat Dio.
Yeah, agreed.
It's
I don't
Yeah, I
think,
don't
you
think
do.
you do.
I think you get cooked by Dio.
Yeah, I wanted to just
Yeah.
leave it so we could talk about it, but yeah, it definitely goes in there. Another deck that goes into don't play is Ira. They murdered this one. I don't really think they should have banned Needles personally, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm legitimately surprised that we even gave this deck 5 seconds.
Yep, there it goes.
This
That
deck-
goes into don't play tier. Someone else has talked about Gravy because I don't have good experience with LL Gravy.
I mean,
maybe it got better. after
CC
the
Gravy
changes?
is probably B tier
Yeah.
and LL, so probably just B tier.
It's kind of just like a high roll deck. Like you high roll, you draw a bunch of cards, you play some men, and you hope to catch your opponent on a hand that can't kill men, and then you're even better than Dromai if you have a way of swinging them. And you have Chum.
Okay.
Yeah, like one card chum is still like the
people
best
just-
play in Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, people just like aren't really considering Gravy when they're making their game plans with these LL decks. So I think you catch some people sleeping, and you can high roll with just casting 1 million cards in one turn.
Especially if the way people are countering Dromai is by putting more poppers in their deck and not more go again in their deck. Gravy is like the stocks go up there. Like if people's decks are all like these kind of combo-y on turn off turn setup-y decks with like some poppers in the sideboard for Dromai, Gravy like maybe can attack that, but
The problem is your deck is just so ass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Next is Icelander. I personally think
Straight to don't
this
play.
is don't play. It does not have enough
Um,
damage or control in order to beat the aggro decks.
I've heard that people think that you can be able to build Icelander to be at least Viserai, Zen, and Dio, and I'm willing to believe that all of those are good matchups. I don't actually know if they are, but I'm willing to believe it.
If you think this
if
is going
those
to be
are
really
good,
popular,
If those are good, then she's absolutely B tier or
I've
like,
never
like
seen
probably
it.
top.
Never seen it happen. I couldn't even think of how she would have to play the game in order to beat a Viserai.
It's always the
You just
bleak
have-
expanse
you just
every
have to
time,
beat
and
Viserai.
it's never
You have,
playable.
you have literally so many cards. Like you have Pyroglyphic and Bleak Expanse that both just like blank the go turn.
and Scour, if you draw
What go turn? He's just gonna play on off or aggro against her. Like he's
Then his weapon is Duskblade, which is just not very good into Icelander. And if he plays on turn off turn, then
Yeah, and when you play like that into Icelander, if she plays the Pajamas, the Alluvian Constellas, then like she can actually fight back decently well because the Viserai decks don't have a lot of blues. So she can just like play very defensively and just like get free Waning Moon chip in every turn if the Viserai is actually like attacking every turn. And if they ever try to go for setup, like Lucas said, you have the best punishes in the game. Like Hypo at instant speed on the combo turn can just be like GG's.
or Bleak. Like
Yeah, or
you,
Bleak,
you go
yeah,
you go like Sonata for 10 Rin chance or whatever. Like
yeah, but you
Bleak is
still
usually-
got to. Well, you still got to put all these things in your arsenal. That's always been her problem. Is she essentially needs like a 3-card hand just to function. She can only block with 1 card per turn in order to keep playing the game. Otherwise, all she's doing is setting a card and doing nothing.
Yeah, again, I have no idea how good this deck is. This deck just has like tools to be good into, like we said, Viserai, Dio, and Zen.
Yeah, but how it's always been is that she's like she controls for a decent amount of time, but like she doesn't actually make any progress in winning the game during the time that she's controlling because you're just like blocking some arcane damage or blocking any of the attacks that she does, and then eventually she slips up and she takes 20 damage and she's too far behind to ever close out the game.
I think the way in LL that you circumvent this is kind of like what Noah was saying, where if people just aren't playing blues, which most decks are not playing all that many, Zen is the exception, right? Zen would be the matchup that has more blues, but he's still weak to frostbites in a lot of spots. I think you're just trying to like like Noah was saying, kind of just like you get most of your damage.
Every Waning Moon is going to be true damage. Like these decks are playing combo equipment; they're not playing AB3. Like every Waning Moon just like does damage. I don't see how Viserai plays AB3 in you. You look so confused.
Yeah, where's the AB? Quill hand.
Cool hand.
Yeah, that's AB1. That means you're taking 2 damage. Like,
Where's
and
the
I'm
rest?
doing the damage for free because it's Alluvian.
Yeah.
Because I can always convert any resources I have.
So people should play this deck, is what you're saying. You're saying this
If
deck's
you
great.
want to just target Viserai, I think it's probably the most efficient way of doing that. You're going to get farmed by other stuff, but
Yeah. I don't actually know if the matchup is good.
I haven't played 100 games of this. This is
Like,
purely like
she
in
has
theory and trusting other people.
she has a bunch of tools, and I've heard people say that it can win games. Viewer, you may take this as you will. So I think like on hearsay alone, she belongs in B tier.
And like you were saying with playing small hands, like you could just peek them every turn if these decks aren't playing Tunic, like these combo decks. Like you just reduce their combo output, you slow the game down, and all your arcane is true damage.
Yeah, I think if the deck is actually a real deck, it could be like a real meta pick.
I don't know. Looking at Icelander win percentage data on Talishar is 35% into Viserai, and I would say that
but
people are bad at
like,
playing against
surely-
ice. So surely the people who are playing Icelander are the people who like to play Icelander, and people who are randomly playing against it are probably bad into ice, and they're still winning a majority of the time.
I feel like Icelander's the kind of deck where like legitimately, unless you have like the perfect deck and like the perfect plan, like you're probably just not going to win any games though.
Okay,
Sounds like a bad deck.
sounds like a bad deck to me.
Well, no, it's just like all of your power cards are like tech cards that are good in specific matchups.
You could
and-
just put it in don't play, man. It's fine.
yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Sure.
Gravy being whatever. It's fine. Who cares?
Kano?
Don't play.
And it was once don't play, but
I
probably
think it's
fine
actually
now.
pretty fine right now.
Oh, because Chain
Because
got
Chain
nerfed.
got nerfed.
yeah.
And so it can actually play the game against a lot of the decks, and if the decks decide that Kano isn't being played, then Kano's actually really good.
Okay.
So probably like V tier.
B tier. Yeah, whatever. Probably ahead of
Maybe
like
A.
Ray.
I don't know.
It would be A if
I think he,
yeah. Good.
Like decks like Zen, I think it's like good into. It's not free, but
Cool. Let's do Zen because we keep mentioning Zen.
yeah, I think this deck is like top of A. Maybe.
You think it's better than Starvo?
No, I don't think it's better than Starvo, but I think it'll be more played than Starvo. And I think it has a better Viserai matchup than Starvo.
I
I
think
agree with all these things.
I
yeah, he's like the natural predator, right?
I think if you subscribe to the theory that Viserai is the most played deck by a relatively wide margin, it makes sense to play Zen. But I don't think you're like farming Viserais, and I don't think you're that good into the rest of the meta. Like, I think Starvo is hard. I think it's not as hard as people think, but I think it's hard. I think Dio is hard because of null time zone.
Dio's impossible.
Really hard
yeah.
because of a null time
That's
zone.
that-
Yeah,
that's
it's
actually
like
an issue.
unplayable.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah. Dromai, I've also heard is not actually that good, which is kind of funny.
Straight to B.
I think he's like similar to Viserai, where I don't think he has very many like bad matchups, but I also don't think he has very many like great matchups. I think he's just like good solid aggro deck, and then I think he's like it's basically compared to Viserai, you just have a worse Starvo matchup and a better Viserai matchup.
Boom.
And that's
You
it.
said it.
So like he's like I think he's one of the A tier decks, and then if you expect Viserai to be like super heavily played, it probably makes sense.
Okay. Just to get through KO Reinar, one of these is a combo deck
Don't play.
that Berserk combo tech. Which one is it?
Don't
I
play
don't
it.
think you should play it.
Just don't play either.
Don't play either, but there is a deck.
You should at least know what's happening if you pair into a Reiner, that you should take 0 damage, because when they combo you, they're going to intimidate your whole hand and deal over 40.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Another quick one would be Verdant's OTK combo is a real thing that they're using Tome and essentially Amp to just win in one turn using Mage Master Boots. So they like draw 2 cards, go for 5, draw some more cards. Sometimes even call their Amp to the grave, then pick it back up with Plume. It's really good when it goes off, but it's essentially looking for a couple of cards in the first like 4 turns of the game, and if it doesn't see that, the deck literally does nothing. For me, it's don't play, but like if you run into it, that's what's happening.
Yeah. This is the PSA tier list.
Yeah.
Just like understand these decks.
Ultim
exist.
doesn't do anything anymore. There's no CYP. Okay, so it's gone. We did the thing.
They might swag me at home, probably. Like, meaning player Ds and...
Yeah, they'll be playing a fatigue deck if you play into it, but it's bad.
I have not seen a single good Lexi deck all of LL testing.
Dude, Lexi is so funny. It's like, it seems like she's doing these crazy things. Like, she's giving you a million frostbite. She's like attacking. And then you realize, like, okay, I can just block if you're trying to do ice fuse stuff, and there's nothing stopping me from doing that. And you can never block if you want to play the game. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just
a
bad
play
deck
as well.
Yeah.
One of the hotness decks is going to be Marlin. I think this is actually a pretty good deck if you're looking to target like the sloppy aggro decks. I don't know how we want to describe them, but basically all the sloppy aggro decks do not want to play against this for the most part, and it's pretty good into those.
I think this deck might be S tier. I think this
pushing
deck.
It's like high A.
I think this deck is. I haven't played the Starvo matchup enough to honestly know, but both
It's okay.
decks definitely have play. Yeah, and I think like Marlin is definitely happy there.
I think it's this right now for my current.
Zen and Viserai, I think, are pretty reasonable. Like Dio's pretty good, I think.
Dromai's rough, right?
I think Zen is not good. Like, you want Marlin to basically be able to have every harpoon that she casts be relevant.
So I've heard this as well. I've heard that people still find it's actually pretty good for Marlin. I think the other thing is also like a lot of the stuff, like the Krakens, or like they randomly hit a lot of Zen's hands, and Zen is a deck where like more than anyone else, if you look at his hand and take a card out of it, it's like devastating.
Yeah.
So like every King Shark is just like rough. Every like Bluefin is rough.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah. It is worth noting that currently pretty much no deck is teching at all for Marlin, and
Yes.
it's not that difficult to put defensive cards in your deck.
Yeah.
So that could modify things, but currently
Yeah.
I agree with this.
I think she's really
New.
She also has like insane deck velocity too. It's kind of crazy. Just 1 million pot of greed. So if we talk about the Lucas version of consistency, I think she fits the mold of just like, since you draw so many cards, you're gonna like see playable cards every turn.
And you have codex for redundancy. Like, who cares if you're discarding? You can make the free arrow, or you have too many cards anyway.
New is actually better than people think it is because a lot of the aggro soup decks don't have any good defensive plans, and they continually just get cards ripped from their hand while taking damage, and they have no ability to play around attack reacts at all. It also has a pretty good Starvo matchup because it gets to play all of Starvo's blues. However, if it slips up one time or misses like disruption one time, it just gets ran over and blown up. Because of that, I think it's a B tier deck, but it's actually a little bit better than people think it is now. That chain is dead.
The problem is New. You have to keep them in the box because your armor doesn't block well, and like you don't really block well if you want to do powerful things.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna put it up here.
Yeah,
So
you also don't do damage.
Yeah, your damage is real slow.
It's I think it's just like Icelander, where like you just kind of have to like hope that your disruption chains back to back to back to back. She's a little bit better at doing damage. I personally think this deck is really bad, but I think it is playable.
Yeah.
I'm aligned.
Prism. I haven't seen a Prism in 20 years.
Yeah,
don't
play.
Don't play either one of these decks. They're
I think
bad. Like I think they're good matchups. Can tech like 3 cards in their sideboard and just like beat them every time.
Yeah, I also think the Prisms are bad, and Prism's never really been good into an aggro soup meta. Boom, there it is. We've done it.
We did
an
it.
LL tier list.
2x.
The only S tier right now is Viserai. Maybe Marlin's supposed to be up there. A tier is Marlin, Bravo for some reason. Zen, Dio, Dromai. B tier is Chain, just holding on there, barely. New, Aurora, Briar, Phi, Gravy, Kano. Everything else is don't play. Half of these B tiers are probably don't play, but people are going to play them.
If you think about your tournament run, if you're going to play 6 rounds at Worlds, you think it'll be like 3 Viserai, 3 randoms, or?
Yeah, probably.
I don't think it'll be that extreme, personally.
I expect 30 to 40%.
Dude, I think Marlin's going to be the most played. I think 100% Marlin's the most played at the calling because it's more fun.
Most played, dude. Come on.
I actually think he could
I would
be
bet on that, man. I bet it's the most played at the calling for sure.
Wait,
I think-
can we make a live bet with 3,000 people witnessing?
There's no world.
It'll definitely be Viserai, but
The only thing holding it back is like people don't have Marlin cards currently. Why would you?
Yeah, but they're like $2.
Yeah,
And they might not acquire them in time.
Like they're just not going to play it. It's like a level 0 thinking of people just aren't going to play Marlin.
Well, it's based on Talishar data. I think it's been the most played deck.
It's because the Marlin stands just keep spamming, dude. I guarantee it's just like a couple accounts.
Yeah, like look right now, I bet like every game is versus a Marlin.
Fair.
Okay, let's do our podcast questions. These are asked by premium members of our Metafy. If you'd like to be able to ask questions on the podcast, find any of the 3 deck lists that we publish every single month with sideboards. Ask any questions. Feel free to join in the link below. First question here from Olivia Guy asks, how much time is worth spending to test Dark Horse decks? And go.
This definitely depends who you ask. There's certain members here who would say 0 minutes.
That's where I was gonna go.
Yeah.
Like trying to like solve the meta and like cheese the tournament. It's not the way. Just like be efficient, figure out what's good, pick something, get good at it.
Depends how much time you have. Yeah.
I think when you think of a dark horse, you have to really look inward and say, is this a dark horse because I like something about it, or is it a dark horse because there's actually like mathematically and logically something this deck does that the people are sleeping on? Most often it's the former and not the latter, but not going to stomp on your dreams of like maybe there'll be a time when you actually are the only person in the community who's figured something out.
Yeah, I think Dark Horse decks are not normally a good investment of time. I think normally the people who get the biggest edges at the tournaments are people who figure out certain matchups um, that other people just don't understand as well. Like getting an edge in a high play rate matchup is a lot more of a better way to like get a leg up on the competition than playing like some random deck.
I
Like
agree. Invest in
for
dark horse
example,
strategies,
yeah, like
not
for
decks.
example, this meta, this is not the case. Everybody in their mind is working, so like this is not true. But like if you had a Verdance deck that just like beat Syndra like every time and nobody else knew about it or whatever it was, like that would be like a way to get an like the best edge. Like I would just play that deck. I would tell every teammate to play that deck. That's the kind of ways that you can get edges. And then it also has the nice benefit of if it doesn't work out, you've still just been testing a good deck, and so even if the matchup that you're working on isn't like 70-30, it's probably still fine. Like whatever. You've invested your time into one of the most relevant matchups, and your conclusion is that you have a bunch of experience, and maybe it's not completely unlosable. Like whatever. You have
Sometimes you just end up on a Dark Horse deck, and it is just the best deck, like Zen at Worlds last year. Like we brought that, but that was not a popular or expected deck to be played at Worlds, and
yeah.
we ended up
We-
on it.
It's more of a theory thing. Like we didn't invest time to be like Zen's the best deck or like the dark horse pick. We like knew it was based on what's
Yeah.
in the meta. Like we know where Zen's positioned already.
It's basically never that a deck comes out of nowhere. Like what happens is honestly, if you want to take a Dark Horse deck, look at the ban list, see whatever the most recent hit was, and just like play that deck. Because that's always the Dark Horse, because that deck is always like way better than people think it is because it just got bans. That's what happened to Zen. Like that deck was good. Like a month after Worlds, everybody knew it was one of the best decks.
Yeah.
It was just like people didn't play it because it just got bans.
Fair.
Okay, Wardo77 asks, flavor text challenge in Aria. Preparing for war means making the most of the time you have left. Well, it's probably from Tales of Aria, would be my initial impression.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I feel like Ryan would throw
The hint says Crucible of War generic.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's before? Oh, womp womp.
But it's Aria, so it's probably either a Guardian card or a generic.
You know, this card, I know it's not generic, but the thing that evokes is the one where the person's at the forge hammering. It's like you look at the top four
Yeah.
cards of your deck, you put an arrow in.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking
Silver
of.
the tip. Yeah, can you say it
Silver
one
the
more
tip,
time?
yeah.
In Aria, preparing for war means making the most of the time you have left.
What even are generics in Crucible?
I have no idea. I literally have
It's
no
like
idea what this is.
Generic. That was
Like
the hint.
Promise of Plenty. That's the only one I can think of.
Yes.
That one actually, does that have room for flavor text?
No, it has like two separate.
Actually, here I bet it's Blessing of Serenity. That's the Guardian instant that.
It's a
That's from WCR,
it's
I
a
thought.
crew generic.
Oh, generic was part of the. I didn't realize that.
Oh.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I can't
Any,
name them.
anyone want to
Promise.
say anything before I do the solution?
The yellow
Promise
D
of money,
reacts
whatever.
that blocks two.
So would you say that?
Brutal Assault.
The yellow D react that blocks
No,
two.
it's
or
Coax
more.
of Commotion. Coax of Commotion.
No.
Oh, you
Oh,
played
I
that
should
card
have known
before.
this.
I would have never
I love
gotten
that card.
Okay. Fighting Walloon asks.
How the hell does that card have room for flavor text?
I have no idea.
It's literally E-Strike.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah. Fighting Walloon asks, people often talk about long, grindy games of FAB as skillful and interesting to play. Aggro games are often dismissed as being all about the dice roll or whether your deck has decided you get to win. What skills separate great aggro players from good or average ones?
Dan, we're looking at you if you were
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, come on, Dan.
Well, Noah said something before we started recording, so now it's all I can think about. But it does kind of come down to knowing when to and not to block. I mean, baseline is do the math. If your opponent doesn't do the math correctly, then you're ahead. But I think finding the right blocks, and then in the case of like Syndra, not finding when not to block is extremely important. Like if they're gonna get over your blocks anyway, you're sacking double value, and you're just never gonna win. It's also understanding. What was the question? How to get edges in aggro matchups?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. What makes
Yeah, you
a
need to
great
understand
aggro player?
the damage ranges of both decks. How many cards do they need? I guess on 4 and 5 cards, like how much damage can they do? 3 cards. Literally on every increment, like every amount of
So like
cards they could have in hand, you need to know what their range of output is. And the whole game is
So-
about getting them to that range where you're presenting lethal before they are.
So for example, playing into something like Syndra, if you're playing like an aggro deck where you know you're gonna have to like say no blocks and keep a whole hand and probably kill them, like let's say you're playing Dio, if you're gonna give the Syndra 4 cards, you probably can't go down to like 13 to 15. But if you're at like 18 to 20, you're probably safe and you're able to keep a whole hand. Those are like the kind of, and obviously it's sometimes hard to predict, but those are the kinds of decisions where it's like, if your opponent's at, 20, like maybe you just block the turn before, because it's more relevant that you're able to keep your 5-card hand and like resolve your max fee than it is that you get like the extra whatever damage on this turn, because you actually just have to keep your whole hand next turn. And if you're at 13 compared to 19, right? Let's say it's like you can either block 6 or send 6. You're not going to be able to keep that whole hand and resolve a max fee the following turn if you go down to like 13, for example.
I think the other thing you should think about in aggro decks is when to just play very risky versus play more passively. This would be like, for example, if I'm Syndrome, should I just be rapid fire using all my blood splattered vest counters because I want to get in that, like, even if each one of them only equates to 1 or 2 extra damage, because I've cashed in all of mine first, I can then have the life lead over my opponent, and then maybe because they now have to block with cards from hand, they can't fully use all their blood spider vest counters, or they have to block with it before cashing in 2 of the counters type thing. This is something, as well as in like other aggro matchups where you have like elements of your deck that are ticking time bombs. This would be things like Dio and Acilia, where you have stuff that's like start of turn, you have to do the thing. You want to make sure that you have enough of a life buffer to where you can do the powerful thing on the exact turn you have to, otherwise you just lose. So you need to like sometimes take negative value lines because you know that you have this like specific turn requirement to how your deck operates of like this has to be the go turn, and then you can push on those turns.
Yeah, the risk thing is really important too. Like, you have to know how to when to play to your outs. Like, I remember very vividly at my first Worlds, the top 8 game against Rob Catton. I'm effectively ahead by like 1.5 points in my head, and he presents the 2 for 5 go again that flips the top card, and I know if I block it, I definitely can't win because I'm giving him too much value there. Like, he goes up like 2 points if I do that, so I just have to let it hit, and that's like my best option there. Where I think if I block, I lose that game every time. And he flipped an Art of War, so I won that game.
Yeah, it would come up in like it would come up in like Slippy Mirrors too, where it's like you flick because it pressures the what's the card, the Mark of the Black Widow. Like you pressure Mark of the Black Widow, you take a card from their hand, but now you go down to 0 daggers. But you felt like you had to take this risk because if you don't flick and you play passively, then you were never going to win. So yeah, these types of plays where you just like you take a play that's if you're thinking about like what's holy in the game, you shouldn't be doing stuff like this, but it's what's required to win because of your kind of meter in your head of how ahead or behind you are.
Yeah, I'm realizing the point I made. It's not play to your outs. It's play to win, not to lose. That was the example.
Yeah, exactly. Play to win. Yeah. Play to your outs is a different situation, I think.
Okay, that's like you're way behind, and like you have to hit off the top with the.
Yeah, this is more just like you do a play that has some risk, but this is the way that you win the game.
Exactly.
Carnivore says, how much of your practice time are you putting into LL over CC? Is it close to 50-50, or is there more of a skew towards one format or over the other? I think this is dependent on if you already had a CC deck or if you already had an LL deck. Seeing as I had an LL deck for most of the season, and then they just said, no, you do not have an LL deck, I spent most of my time on CC, and now I'm spending most of my time on LL.
Yeah, I think for everyone, it's entirely based on what happened with the BNRs.
Yeah, I would say in this like short lead up, definitely more time into LL over CC, but over the whole life cycle of Worlds has been more CC.
LL practice is just unreasonable because we all knew going in that a lot of changes would occur. So why would you invest all of your time? Like, we definitely spent significant time understanding the format up front, but then it's like, until we know the final format, why would you waste your time?
Yeah, it's honestly funny too because like I feel almost like vindicated in our hatred for this ban list right before the event because like, yeah, all the testing we did before is useless. like I don't know, like you think about some of the decks that like we were thinking about previously, like yeah, okay, whatever, like it's just not real.
Not real. Randall 205 asks, do you feel like CC could benefit from more frequent interactable undetermined value? Example is High Seas Limited, where every effect has the treasure island on hit, but is highly contextual what the value of those hits are.
This would be fabulous. I have no idea how they would make this in CC, but I would love something like this where basically like every action that your opponent does has some potential consequence down the line. Like that would be awesome. It'd be so mentally taxing, even more than Flesh and Blood already is, but I think it would be fun.
Yeah. It's only undeterminable if you don't determine the value, though. Do you want to point that out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could just determine the value.
Gold is very easy to figure out the value of.
Well, obviously this is not FAB. Riftbound kind of has this built in as a feature, where quite often it feels like you're playing Treasure Island on every game, and like early decisions on like round 2 can have you lose the game on round 8, just because like you gave them too much value on round 2. So I loved that about High Seas. I liked that about Riftbound. I would like to see more of that in Flesh and Blood. Scooby,
It's like,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, I'm good.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it adds like a more like dynamic back and forth nature beyond just attack block.
Yep.
Skabichi asks, give us secret runaway lore on when you or others have been 100% confident in an argument only to eventually realize that you were completely and embarrassingly wrong. What was the topic and what did you learn?
I don't retain this kind of thing.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm wrong all the time. Usually I realize pretty quickly.
I don't really remember when I'm wrong, and I don't really remember when other people are wrong for the most
I
part.
definitely remember the emotion of being wrong
Yeah.
or violently arguing that someone else is wrong.
Yeah.
I would say that the thing that I'm probably wrong about the most is when a new set comes out and we have to figure out how the heroes play in CC. I'm often just completely like not even close.
Me too.
Like when Verdance first came out, I definitely bought into the hype of like, oh, I'm gonna do the potion ramp Surgent into Aether Flare into like another spell. Like I was like, oh yeah, dude, this is the way. When Marlin came out, I was like so absorbed in the whole Death Dealer, Tri Shot, Perch Grapplers. Like I'm gonna shoot 1 million arrows. So I think like basically I'm brought back down to earth every set of like my dreams are that these heroes can do this like crazy stuff, and then it's just completely impractical.
Yeah,
I think it's the nature of being on a team. Like everyone's wrong all the time, but
I have
you
some
gotta,
rule,
like-
though.
go ahead.
This is something that often gets mentioned in the Runaways. So for any newer teammates watching, this is lore for you too. But for the longest time in the lead up to Amsterdam, I was testing Azalea,
Yeah,
and early on in the testing, especially before people were playing more copies of Bonds and like everyone was on Needles and Warmongers and stuff. Like when people's decks were like kind of just like these aggro soup Tiger decks that weren't very good. The matchup was pretty good for Azalea. Like I played that at the calling at Nats. I had some success in the Zens. That matchup was not actually very good. Like if the opponent had a good Zen list, and basically like I convinced like half the team to test Azalea like 3 weeks before the tournament, and we did like a week of testing, and then we played some internal games into Zen, and we were just getting like shit stomped.
It was just me, by the way.
That's not even true. It's like
You
we were
stole
like 40,
everyone from my Zen team.
we were like 40%, but it was like every game we won was just the like you draw red in really good sequence. And And so it was like clearly not a good enough deck to play for the tournament. But yeah, I mean, I held on for a while. I was like, surely the Zen matchup is pretty good. And I kind of like predicated the whole testing on that. And then it turned out that that was not true. Of course, you know, this gets brought up in many scenarios that are not 1-to-1 and has definitely led to me getting some strays caught, but it was definitely a situation where I was mistaken.
No, that's a prime example.
Yeah, it's a good example. I
Don't ask Fino about this.
I think
It's a sore subject.
I think we're wrong quite often. I don't think being wrong is embarrassing. So I think that's like the actual wrong
If
part.
you're never wrong, you're stupid.
and quite often you'll even hear it on the podcast if someone makes a good point. That yeah, that's actually correct. That makes sense. I agree. Like we're all open for the most part to just be convinced that we're like wrong or something else is better. Because
I prefer to be,
because that's how everything gets better. The one that comes to mind is just recently London and the Enigma deck that I brought. I ended up being wrong on that. That it was not good into Aurora, or it couldn't beat the high roll. And what I learned, I'm not willing to play a deck at a tournament that can't high roll. It was too flat in its damage curves.
Yeah, I think my my biggest problem with answering this question is that even when the results didn't go according to how I thought they would, I still think I was right, kind of. It just, that's not how it played out in the universe we reside in.
Mhm.
So
I have a good example for myself, actually.
go ahead.
At the beginning of this cycle, I regrettably told the team that Arachne Marionette was not that good and not that well positioned.
Oh my.
No, I
And
actually
now
have the same
I'm a
problem.
bit embarrassed about where we've landed as just the clear best deck in format, and we could have known sooner.
Okay.
So that's my example.
Mike at Blockout Party says, how many attack action cards can be defended with from Arsenal?
Just how many cards have ambush?
Attack action cards.
Plus down and
Attack
dirty.
action cards.
Overcrowded and down and dirty.
That's all I got so far.
No, the y'all aren't some super slammers, dude. You never got hit with the Kablamo, no hero stands alone, block 6 from Arsenal, tough nut style.
Oh yeah, that card does work.
That blocks from Arsenal?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
has ambush on it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, block 6 from Arsenal.
Mhm.
No.
Okay, is there any other
Makes
ones though?
sense. This is just those.
Probably. I don't know, man.
Wait. It's a trick question. Can you repeat the question?
How many attack action cards can be defended with from Arsenal?
All of them, because Ardwar exists.
Oh,
We
Dude,
play
our
Shade
answer
here.
is better than his
only
answer.
in LL, right?
Wait,
In
wait. All of
CC
them except for Pearls, right?
Yeah. In CC, Ardwar's banned.
As long as it said 0. you
Well,
can do it,
also
but
Pulse
Actually, wait. I have a
Pulse Wave
So-
Harpoon. You can defend with all of
no.
them.
Pulse Wave doesn't take Pearls.
Well, that's I know. I'm saying other than pearls. Even in
Pulse Wave
CC.
also takes from
What do
your
you
hand. So like, what are we talking about?
Oh yeah, it's from Arsenal.
Yeah, what do you got? We good? Go to
Yeah. What's the answer?
4. Down and dirty,
Nah, that's wrong.
overcrowded. Tiger Eye Reflex is not an attack action card,
Not an attack action.
and no hero stands alone.
Tiger Eye Reflex is the copia because it makes a tiger.
Yeah,
It's an
that's
attack
funny.
in disguise.
so it's actually
That was a
3.
trick.
Yeah, Tiger Eye Reflex is not an attack action.
No, I reject. It's all of them.
A bonus. What 2 cards enable other attack action cards to be defended with from Arsenal? One of them is Art of
Oh.
War.
And the other one is the best gold foil,
Yeah, it's
the Bunka Beer.
Bunker
Mm.
Beard.
Bunker Beard. Yep.
Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
King of Ice says, is Marlon succeeding in LL purely because of the lack of community interest in the format, or does the deck actually have legs? I think we have answered this on our tier list, but yeah, the deck seems good right now.
Well, it's kind of both, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like if people play the format more, it would have been good sooner, and then people would start playing Unmovable or something. I don't know.
I mean,
She's got nice legs, dude. Have you seen those Celia Sarongs? I mean, come on.
Unmovable
Got the whole
is
leg
pretty
in the
good.
picture.
Cool.
Sure.
Well, we've done it. We've gone through 2 tier lists, something that we have never done before. Brand new record. Some saying the best podcast of all time, best episode that we've ever had. With all that, we'll see you at Worlds. If you're at Worlds, come say hi to us. We'll be doing a bunch of stuff. We'll be where all over the place. I don't know. It's too late. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to bed. I got testing I got to do. I don't even know what deck I'm playing in half the formats. We got to go. I got to get out of here.